Hello, everyone, and welcome to Smashbox TV's podcast 168. I'm your host, Terry Miller, the Disc Golf Guy, and Mr. Technical Difficulties, Johnny V.
Sometimes it just requires a kick. Just literally had to restart the computer. I did a ton of work on it this weekend, all sorts of things, but nothing related to our show, so I don't know what it was. But just rebooting it seemed to work. So
But they say the little reboot fixes your phone, fixes your computer, fixes just about everything. So
it really does.
when in doubt, always reboot. More often than not, that will fix a problem. So glad you guys could join us. Podcast 168. We're here on Tuesday night, November 7th. I know I've been talking about having some kind of Terry's timestamp, as I say, to place a moment in time for our podcast. And although it not specifically today, and although not pleasant, I think one of the large timestamps right now, just 2 days ago, another mass shooting, which I know is more and more common.
Sadly, I don't think that's going to timestamp this.
It really won't, but the mass shooting that took place in a church in Texas, and I'm going to leave it at that. I don't even know a ton of the details. I was out traveling around for the weekend. I had heard what took place on a very high level, talking about 26, 28 people, unfortunately, passing away. So that's going to be the timestamp. Hopefully we never have to worry about that again. But fortunately we will.
Did the Astros win the World Series?
I think we talked about that last week.
I couldn't remember.
Oh, no, maybe not. I think we were mid-podcast on last Tuesday. Were we not? On Halloween night? Or did they win it the next night?
I think they won it the next night.
All right. So if so,
we can do congratulations to the Astros on being the 2017 World Series champions.
There you go. So that would be another one. As I'm trying to read through some of the comments. So tonight, in actually just about 5 or so minutes, we're going to get right to it. We're going to have Dave Fehlberg join us. He is your 2008 world champion, but so much more than just his countless array of titles and championship wins that he's gotten from all different countries and continents. Dave is going to be giving us more details regarding the Next Generation Tour finale, where
they're giving away a car.
They're giving away a car, and I was going to say where Smashbox and the Disc Golf Guy will be there next weekend, not this upcoming weekend, not in 4 or 5 days, but in about 7 to 9 days is when we'll be arriving into Fountain Hills, Arizona, ultimately going to play a total of 6 full rounds, and the winner after those 6, we'll say in its entirety, the 6 full rounds, is going to drive away with a brand new Kia Soul, I want to say. I know it's a brand new car.
I think you're right. I think it's the Kia Soul.
I'm sorry if I screwed it up, but I believe it's a Kia Soul. They'll have a brand new Kia Soul as the grand prize, and then the other 4 finalists get this absurd amount of stuff. The top 16, there's just, Dave can give us all the numbers, but the amount of stuff given away here for the Next Gen Tour and the Tour finale that's coming up is just, honestly, it's ridiculous.
Well, if you wanted to come into the PDGA sphere with a new tour, you had to do something big, because last year we saw the World Tour and the Pro Tour show
American
up,
Tour
and the American Tour. Sorry,
I feel like you
can't forget that one.
I feel like sometimes you don't give them the credit that they're due.
We've talked about this. They took a big step out on a limb, and that limb broke, and they fell, and unfortunately didn't work out so well for them. But they were another tour. This year we saw the Next Gen Tour, and you got to go big now to get a little splash, and they did.
They did.
They really did.
Seriously, I'm sure Dave can talk about, there's been cars that have been talked about for aces and for, some specific things, but to have this, ultimately this tour prize be giving away a car, well, I don't know if the value is 15, 16, 18,000, 23,000. I don't recall what the exact details were. But it's a brand new car, and so that's pretty cool that that's happening. Also in the news, and I think it also released just shortly after our podcast. I know I was pulled it up on the plane, so maybe it released. Because it released actually on November 2nd or 3rd was the PDGA A-tier schedule, and we've seen the major schedule released a few weeks ago or a month ago, maybe even now. Lots of different events, regarding the Pro Tour, the World Tour, so on and so forth. But then they have the A tiers unfold. And now people like myself as the state coordinator, now all of the thousands, literally thousands of B and C tier events can also now start populating your regional or your local schedule. So I know in Wisconsin, I'm sending out an email that says, hey, all the, the NTs, the A tiers, and the majors have been scheduled. Let's now try and make the rest fit for the rest of the year in terms of B and C tiers. And it's quite a massive undertaking state to state.
Just like we said last year, no one is going to be shy of a disc golf tournament if you want to find one in your region on virtually any weekend. They're everywhere. Our events now spread from early February until, I don't know, late January.
Yeah.
Just year round. I mean, honestly, it's kind of ridiculous.
There really is. And so look for the scheduling. A lot of people are now just talking about, I see some chatter on the board about the World Tour. Someone saying it's just 3 events. That's nothing new in that the World Tour schedule's been out for about a month. Now, maybe some people are just paying a little bit more attention to it because all of these A tiers are also out there. But yes, the World Tour being 3 events next year, the Pro Tour being 10 events, and I think then plus a finals is how that's going to work if I did the math right, or if I'm just trying to recall. Something like that. And then National Tour, I think, is like 6 or 7 events. I'd have to go look and count them all up. I know they're a little bit different, and that's one thing that's also worth noting is the National Tour has taken on this model for the last few years now where it kind of rotates in and out a few of the events from year to year. For instance, 2 years ago, we saw Kansas City Wide Open as a National Tour. This year, it's an A tier. Next year, I would put money on it being a National Tour if they're in fact vying for one. So a few of the events, and then you have some of your more traditional or your staples on there in that we're going to have Beaver State Fling. We're also going to have the Masters Cup. Those are 2 that have been on there consistently for a number of years. And then I turn around and then I think about, again, like we saw Pittsburgh last year, National Tour. I don't want to say just an A tier, but it's going to be an A tier here in 2017. So they kind of rotate in and out. Then obviously we saw the huge switch up last year in in the beginning of this year in 2017 with the Memorial, who had been a National Tour for more than a dozen years. That ultimately going to the the old Gentlemen's Club Challenge. What is it now? The Las Vegas Challenge, I think?
Las Vegas Challenge. Las Vegas Open?
No, Challenge. I think it's still a challenge.
Not open?
I was just there. It was definitely a challenge. No, so that's going to be a National Tour again, whereas the Memorial is going to be an A tier and kicking off the Disc Golf Pro Tour. And the big news we broke last week, as a quick recap, in having Keith Murray from Spinners on the Green and of the event, is that they had reduced the event from 3 courses back down to 2, which it had been for so many years. That came as a shock. Some people apparently don't listen to our show, Johnny, because they didn't realize it.
I was listening to another podcast, and it came out the day after ours, and you actually made a guest appearance on it, Disc Golf Answer Man, and they were talking about it as well, because you had
broke the news.
You broke the news to them, knowing that their podcast was going to come out after ours. Timing. So they talked about it, and you could hear EMAC as a pro's perspective. He was talking that he thinks it's a better move for them, just based on, well, I'm just going to call it Fiesta because it changes names. That course obviously is not nearly as suitable for our pros as some of the other ones, and if you're going to take one away, that's the one that makes the most sense.
Correct. So thank you.
EMAC's kind of a sis. He's talking about playing Masters Worlds.
He signed up, I believe, for the Memorial and Masters. If I think I was out there stalking people, I think I saw him signed up in the Masters division. Now, is he going to
fly out there or drive? Is it easier for his wheelchair?
Because I think his birthday's with somewhere between yours and mine.
It is
to turn 40 next year.
But I'm going to make those jokes until I actually play a Masters tournament.
Oh, fair enough.
Then I understand. I get
fair
it.
enough. That will be interesting. I think we're going to see some big news come down the pipe. I know that this is your PSA. Keep your eye on the Glass Blown Open registration. I know some of that's starting to unfold. I want to say some of the or all of the amateur divisions. I'm just dead wrong, maybe. I believe open sometime around next week, and there's other registration that's going on for it right now. So just stay on top of it. All the registrations, yes, I know some of them are very early, but that way they can get everything secured go out, get renewed on the PDGA website. Make sure you're all good. Make sure you're all current, and then go out and get registered for some of these big events as they continue to roll in. Speaking of Masters age players, as I heard Johnny McRae refer to Dave Felberg earlier this year, I think he said something like, "Go get it, baby master," meaning Dave
young
in
guy.
his. Yeah, Dave is one of the new kids on the block. I think if we can, we're going to try and dial up Dave here in just a moment, get him on Skype, get some more details about how the Next Generation Tour finale is going to unfold next year.
Yep. As soon as
next week.
As soon as I see Dave come online, I will make sure to dial him up. It says he's away right now.
All right, Dave, that's your.
As soon as I see him go green.
Yes, that is your hint. I will message him. We are ready. So we'll have him join us. And real quickly, speaking of Keith Murray, Keith graciously hosted me in part this weekend. So thank you so much, Keith. Thanks for the help. Thanks for picking up at the airport. Mike and Pete Ulibarri and this massive staff, all hands on deck at the PLO. We'll talk about that after we catch up with Dave Felberg, but I had the pleasure of being at the 12th annual Phoenix Ladies Open event this last weekend, and they did not disappoint. They set a new record for themselves in terms of amount of women played, and so thank you, Keith. Thank you, Spinners. Thank you, everyone out there, Chris Cobb, everyone else, Ashley, everyone that had the hands on deck. And again, there were dozens and dozens more. But thank you to all you guys for helping out. And I hear the rumblings of a Dave Felberg. Once he get fully in position, we'll be able to welcome him.
Hold on one second, Dave. Let me make sure that I have that selected properly. Can you hear now, Dave?
All right, Dave, we'll pull you on. Is there? Can you get a light? A little more in front of your face. There you go. That looks a little better. I'm gonna get Dave's in his digital green room right now as we're getting ready to pull him onto the show.
Excellent.
All right, and some beautiful artwork. Well, first, let's welcome Dave Felberg. How you doing tonight, buddy?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
We're doing well. We're excited. I feel bad. I was just in Phoenix, and now I'm home for 7 or 8 days, but then I get to go back.
Yeah, boo-hoo. I have to go to Phoenix and get out of this 37-degree weather. There's no...
I'll survive, but tell us, there's a ton of hype surrounding next weekend and the culmination here of the Next Gen Tour. What can we expect?
Well, it's been a lot of work, and we had 142 qualifiers, 9 regional championships, altogether maybe almost 4,000 competitors, and it's all culminating down to this, and we're expecting to have 72 competitors. We're going to have you there, Smashbox Live coverage, including Johnny V back at the base.
Right here.
And, we're going to give it the full pro, go like a Disc Golf Pro Tour. And we got a nice big staff of qualified people. And we expect it to be one of the biggest amateur turnout, shows ever happened. Basically, with the prizes, first place prize alone is the biggest payout in any disc golf tournament, pro or amateur. And then you got to look at second through fifth is $2,900 a piece. I mean, plus $500 players packages. We're talking this is as big or bigger than any pro tournament of the season.
Yeah, I guess if I didn't really think of it in that perspective, that whether that's cars valued at 16, 17, or 20,000, whatever 18,000. That's 3,000 or 2,000 more than any of the single largest
events this year
ever.
Ever.
Single pro payout.
Wasn't there a
$25,000 or $50,000 Rose Bowl? That was Frisbee,
it was a $50,000 Rose Bowl, but the car was only worth like $8,000.
Yeah.
Well, with inflation, it was worth like $3,000. But yeah, because did Ricky won 12 for one of his
12,000? Yeah.
Yep.
And 15's been given out at a USDGC one time.
Ken Climo when he fell in the dollar bills.
Yeah, I was there. That was so dirty. No. And so yeah, this being the single largest payday, direct payday in history. That's, I guess I never really put that all together that way. That's awesome.
That's exciting. And it's going to amateurs.
One of the other things I wanted to bring up tonight that about is bracketology.
Yes.
It's our new thing that we're working on. You know, March Madness is a very exciting part of the year for most sports fans. And, you know, there's been a lot of fantasy disc golf, so we thought it would be cool to have a bracketology where you know, look at the 72 players and you pick them as they move on and get points per round. And then in the end, you know, have a good prizes. This year, it's all free just to promote. And we have great prizes like a Zuka cart for first, Keen cards, backpacks, discs, all kinds of stuff, and it's all free. You don't have to be part of the series. You can be a pro. Anybody who wants to go log on to nextgenerationdiscgolf.com has access to it. So it's, you know, just a way to get people to get behind the amateurs. You know, people in your area, pick your horse, root for your guy all the way to the end, kind of thing. You know, and it just keeps people more interested, I think. And you know, these are the kind of side games that are more fun that you associate with our, you know, these larger growing tours. And we think it's going to be exciting. It's a new system. If you look at it, we have 9 regions, so we're allowing you to pick 3 players per region. So there was, you know, these guys that qualified in each region. So you pick your 27 players and they advance. And then once you pick those 27 players, you pick 4 more players to make the Sweet 16. And then you pick 2 more players the next round to make the final. And then you pick the winner. And you get points all the way up to the final. But if anybody in your original 27 that you picked, the first 27, makes it, then you will be given the opportunity to get points. They're not as big as points. So like say, for example, if you're in the one round and you pick the final 4, you get 10 points if your guy's in the final 4. But if one of your guys that you picked in the 27 who you believed in out of the 72 makes it to the final 4 and it's not your guy, you still get 5 points. So we're trying to keep it so that, you know, you could keep rooting for players. You know, if your one guy gets knocked out, then you're not completely out. You know?
So are you trying to, I don't want to use the word copy or mimic, are you looking to build the same type of energy as more like a March Madness?
Yes, we're working on it. This is a sample of what disc golf version looks like because it's not heads up, you know, match play.
Yeah, and we're not looking at the pros like we do in the Pro Tour. You know, the March Madness is obviously all college. You could almost call them amateurs, depending on how you look at it. Just like the Next Gen Tour here is doing.
Right, exact same thing. That's what we're looking for, and people get really excited when you're behind somebody who's got a lot of energy and a young amateur, and trying to create these pockets where people are pulling for each other. And then next year they can say, well, we're sending somebody from our region and we're winning that bracketology. We're going all the way, you know, that kind of feel. It might take a few years, and, you know, every year we'll keep adding more and more prizes. So.
And what's you hit on one of everyone's favorite F words, free. So all you have to do is go out there and you can sign up for it. We saw, for instance, at the Disc Golf Pro Tour finale a few weeks ago, there was a Patreon version where you could win, we'll say, bigger, more elaborate prizes if you're a Patreon member. And then there was also a free version that took place. But everyone can go out there and participate. Is it simply signing up for an account, entering in some basic registration
you just
information?
put in your email address and a password.
Okay.
And you're good to go. And basically, we're just trying to grow, you know, the interest around amateur play. It seems like, you know, over the years as a disc golfer, there's been low interest in amateur play. You know, if you go to a top pro and you say, tell me who the best amateur in the world is, I bet not many of them could tell you that.
Yeah.
But if you were in another sport and you said that, they'd probably be able to tell you. You know, and I think that, I don't know what that's about or what caused that, but I think that that seems to be one of the issues I've seen. And so our team really is interested in having this bracketology concept so that you can, you know, start to recognize who the best amateurs are coming up. So when they do come to the pros, people are rooting for them and saying, hey, that's the best kid out of Maine. He just, you know, he's really good. I followed him through amateur, and I hope he does good in pro. For some reason, we don't follow him from am to pro like other sports. We just go straight. As soon as they're a top 10 pro, we're a fan. But if they're not, then we don't follow them to that moment. And in other sports, you follow someone all the way up, you know?
I can certainly see what you're saying, and I think part of that is part of our overall just how fresh and young and new the sport is, even being 40 years old. I just don't think we've had a lot of those things until YouTube has really blown up some of our scene, and obviously the internet itself. But until YouTube has really come along to be able to even, I mean, there's enough people that are complaining saying we're not getting enough of our top pros, let alone finding our up-and-coming players. And so I think that will continue to grow and evolve exactly as you're saying. But right now, we're so enamored, we can't even get all of our top pros covered at all of our events, scraping by, sometimes only having 1 or 2 cards of coverage. It comes down to dollars and cents and media budgets and all those things we beat to death every other podcast. So, but this is a great opportunity for just that. And I'll selfishly admit, that's one of the reasons why I love being involved with AM Worlds. I love seeing, our players throughout the years and think, okay, I will watch you at an AM Worlds. I know you took a top 5, or I know you won it or whatever. Getting that hands-on experience, and some of our amateur golf doesn't necessarily excite everyone, but to me, as cliche as it is, that's the future of our sport. So I love seeing them come up, and we're going to give that chance.
How exciting
here.
would it have been to follow Paul McBeth since he was 13 or something?
Exactly. When I watched him get smashed by Greg Schwartz in the second. Paul McBeth went into a playoff, along with 2 other guys in 2007 AM Worlds, the one we ran here in Milwaukee, and to watch him ultimately lose that playoff and take second in AM Worlds, that was it was a memory I'll never forget. Not just because it's the AM Worlds here, but now Paul's gone on to be one of the greatest of all time. So it's awesome. So one thing I'm gonna go jump right from that and say, the Next Gen Tour has proven you guys want this evolution, because there's going to be additional pressure. There's going to be post-production, and there's going to be live. There's going to be interviews. There's going to be all of these things. They're being treated just like a top-level professional for this as this thing closes out.
I think they're going to be extremely nervous, Terry. I mean, one thing that I can tell you is I tried to create as much pressure at the regionals. Me and Cynthia had cameraman come in, and we had filmed the top 3 groups as they teed off the hole, announced their name, their score, reverse order. And you should have seen how nervous they were just to play the first hole with a camera on them.
Yeah.
So I just can't imagine the pressure. I mean, I've never played for an $18,000 putt, so I can't imagine the pressure alone that. And now you've never even had pressure, and you've never been on camera, and Terry Miller standing there going, they can hear you whispering, this is John blah, 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 putting for the car here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's going to be a lot of pressure, that's for sure. And I think that giving that experience, that's the thing. Why we know what good amateurs are about in other sports is because that experience takes place where you do have that in an amateur, and people get that opportunity to learn how to be good. And it is a big amateur event, so when they do go to pro, it's not such a jump. They've had an interview before. So this is their first chance to do these interviews with you and be involved with live coverage, so they can, when they do go to pro, they can, oh yeah, Terry, how you doing? They don't have to be coached through it. They've had their stutters. They've gotten through the mistakes of not being able to speak, and we don't have to wait for that evolution of the first couple years of pros. And I won't point out the pros, but you have many times that the younger guys have got up there and they don't have anything to say at first because they've never had that experience. And in other sports, you get that experience in the upper amateur level.
Well, you guys creating this pressure and then playing for what they are, it is going to be an experience that you simply can't duplicate. You can sit in your backyard and say, oh, yeah.
This is for the big one. This is for the championship.
Yeah, exactly.
But until you're there with your knees knocking, there's nothing like it.
It will be interesting to see maybe the people that this could happen, the people that keep it together. You get through the first round, the second round, the third round, and then as it continues to mount, maybe there hasn't been a camera near you all weekend, and we're not out there to try and try to purposely make people feel nervous, but just in general, like you said, some of these people have never had a camera on them, and although they should just ignore and block us out like we're not there, that's easier said than done.
Yeah, I mean, I can't even do it.
I was just going to say, what are your tips? What are your advice? Well, we're talking about it. Like, what would you tell someone?
I would tell you that I used to be pretty good in front of the camera playing, and I always got kind of up for it, and I turned that energy from nerves into being in the zone. Mm-hmm. But, I've been out of the scene for a while, and my first chance to really be on camera again in a while was at Waco. And I'm in that lead group, and I couldn't get comfortable. I couldn't find my stroke. Every putt I felt distracted. I heard noises everywhere, and it was almost like I had relearning how to play in front of a crowd. Well, and I almost got frustrated because I couldn't make a shot, and I think that it's not something that comes easy. I think it comes from week in and week out experiences. That's why you have to get them. And I think that as soon as you're off the bike, it's hard to get on and ride again like you used to. You might be able to ride, but you can't freestyle.
Yeah.
And I don't want to bring up any sore subjects, but you seem to have played really well in front of the camera at the Pro Tour finale, where we had you slotted for for moving on. We walked away with, I think, 3 or 4 holes to go. And then we find out about a half hour later that something had happened later on 17 or 18, and you ended up being like 1 stroke out of making the cut. And
that's what I was going to say is usually, except for that time in Waco, once the year got going with the Masters Worlds and stuff being on camera again, I'm getting hyped up. The Masters Worlds is when it clicked. I played the Final 9. I actually played good on camera. And then since then, I've been playing really good on camera. And when Terry was following me, you're right, I played great. And, it's no excuse, but I have this little injury. I'm not going to go into details, but I'm kind of glad that I bogeyed one of those last 2 holes, because had I had to go on, I would have maybe not been able to play. So it was a lucky break and a bad break at the same time. But, as soon as Terry did leave, I'll tell you this, it was like the air went shh, and there was nothing to play for. When Terry was there and he had the announcement, I felt the pressure, and I was really focused on my shots. And then when he walked away, I didn't feel the pressure. And
we noticed the other guys in your card suddenly, the ones like Michael Joe, and they were all having problems. Suddenly, I look, and it's birdie, birdie, birdie. And all I'm thinking is, like, where was that when we were following you guys? Because we could have used some of the excitement for that first card. So
I think that's probably how I did well in my career. I used a way to get above that, and most of the players I played against went the other way.
Sure.
Well, I mean, if you want to blame me, you can just squarely place your good luck charm, whatever I was there. But, yeah, I mean, honestly, when we peeled back, again, we'll move on after this, but when we peeled back from that group, we were going to go catch another group. I kind of, like, just passed it along, like, oh, Dave's comfortable. He's in, he's in good position, and we're going to send them off, and he'll just, pull it in from there. And we backed off, and then I'm getting updates, and watching the phone as we go on through the next hole, and we're like, what, the shift kind of took place, and it wasn't what we were anticipating, so. That's why you play them all, I guess. Every hole.
That's why you play them all.
So, Fountain Hills, let's talk a little bit about what the players are going to see. Anytime people have seen Fountain Hills on video, they're seeing it at the Memorial. You could go out and play it differently on any given day of the week, but people, when they think of Fountain Hills, they usually think of the Memorial layout. You guys are going to mimic exactly that, correct?
Yeah, we're going to mimic the Memorial layout to the tee. Except for the final 9 will be 9 selected holes of the Memorial layout.
Yeah, and I was trying to guess those last week. Do you have those locked in? I was thinking like maybe
yeah,
1,
we do.
2.
It's holes 1, 2, 7, 8, 9, 11, 14, 17, 18.
Okay. Yep.
Good layout.
Yep. Made perfect sense. So what's really cool is Friday, everybody, all 72, play a morning round.
Yes.
Fountain Hills, shotgun start. Afternoon, same 72.
No. We have a new format. We're doing a stay in your group format.
Okay.
So you get 2 rounds of tee times, and you go to lunch with your group. You'll be served lunch, and then you go back out again after your break with the same group, and you record 2 rounds, like in ball golf.
Okay. Also how we did at the 2007 Pro Worlds.
Yep, that's rounds. Exactly right. Yep.
Okay. So,
and then after that, then you move on to the next day, and we do it again.
Do all 70? Okay, so everyone gets shuffled on Friday night, and then comes
and then
Saturday.
We do it again.
You play with the same 4 people for all 36 holes on Saturday.
On Friday.
Friday and then Saturday as well, or no?
No, Saturday we mix the groups back up. Then we'll do the 1 round, and then we'll cut it to the 36, and then we'll do the cuts down to the 16, and then the final on the last day.
Okay, so Friday. All 36 holes, you're going to play with the same people. Saturday, then there's a shuffle, of course, according to score. Saturday morning, you're likely going to have 3 other guys, new guys you're playing with. And then that's 72 people still. And then they'll reshuffle, and the top 36 plus ties move on?
Yes, I believe that's it, yep.
Okay, so the top...
I think we might do a playoff. I have to look.
Okay.
I think it's a playoff.
Okay, so we'll get that...
For the 36 spot.
Finalized, but you're talking about the top 36... Move on to Saturday afternoon. They'll play another 18 holes. So at that point, they've got 18 carry the 136, 72 holes in.
And we'll have 16 players.
And then Sunday morning, it'll be down to 16 players.
Yep.
That'll be 4 cards worth, so to speak. And then you're going to take the top 5 scores out of those 16 players. But it does or does not reset?
It does not reset.
It does not reset. So it's cumulative, top 5 scores still at that point. And then we go into
the cool final 9 layout we just talked about.
Okay.
And the winner walks on 18 with best score.
That's pretty awesome.
It's a lot of golf, but Fountain's not a long course.
It's not. No.
And it's a beautiful time of year.
Beautiful time of year, great weather, not incredibly hilly. There's only a couple hills. The course itself is not, some at the pro level almost even say it's a little, they almost would say it's a little too easy. But this should set up perfectly. We know there's great cell signal there throughout almost every single spot on that course. We're familiar with it as a camera crew and as a live crew. Live crew might be there? No? Okay.
Live crew will not be there.
So there's so many things that are set up and perfectly in place to be out there. And Tournament Central, everything's taking place out there.
Yeah, we have it all. We even are partnered with the Lexington Hotel across the street. That's where the players' banquets and the check-in and all that stuff's going to take place. And we also have a Euro Pizza player party on Saturday night.
Yes.
Right there, the nice place right on the course. I knew you'd like that. And we're going to be having you do your show right out of Euro Pizza. And we might have a surprise guest. I can't tell you who it is, but there's a good chance we have a big surprise guest.
If it's you, that doesn't count, Dave.
It's not me.
Okay. Yeah, and all I care about is getting a calzone from that place because
They're good.
rated
like
number
that
1
place.
calzones according
By
to my
Terry Miller.
Their calzones are truly amazing. So that's awesome. What should people be doing to prep? I mean, you've got 72 players. They're probably coming from all over the country. If anyone's watching right now that is prepping to go play in it, what would your suggestions be?
Prepare yourself to play a lot of golf. And, most people aren't from Arizona or that type of golf. And I can tell you that the first time I came to Arizona, I was, pretty decent Winnie Crew player, second year. We didn't come our first year. And I was cashing. I cashed wherever we went. And I came out here and I couldn't cash. I got whipped on. I missed the cash by 1. Back then we only cashed 33%,
Mm-hmm.
And so I got 34th out of 99. Actually, and I didn't cash. And it's because I'd never seen a disc with so much air under it. The disc skipped like I'd never seen a disc skip before. They flew a little different, and it's something about that open airspace with the water. I just didn't know how to judge my shots. And I was flipping things and over-hyzering things, and, I just didn't know what I was doing. And so I think that anybody from, that is coming from out of town has to get there early to be ready because it's not easy going from playing in the woods in Michigan to playing on Fountain Hills.
Yeah, very, very different atmosphere, and we've talked about it in the past, especially come time for Memorial. The fountain itself, depending on how high it gets and which way the wind is blowing or if it creates any wind or swirls of itself.
Oh, yeah, all that.
All of those things have to be factored in out there.
It's going to be tough. I just think they should, be prepared. And, a lot of them probably are coming with lots of family and people, so they'll be there to take care of them and get them all their extra stuff. And we have a huge staff. They'll all be wearing the same shirts, and we got beverages and breakfasts and water. And, they're going to be pampered. So all they've got to do is throw the shots. And
that's it.
And then walk away with a car
hopefully
or
they
drive
can
away.
In advance.
That's very exciting. And as you just alluded to, on Saturday night, we're planning on, I guess, setting up at Euro Pizza. You're not going to hear any complaints from me.
You're on the porch.
We'll set up right out there, and we'll be doing a show. We'll be able to talk with possibly some of the people we're going to be seeing on Sunday. As you said, there may or may not be some special guest appearances, but, whittling down to that 16 on Sunday, knowing that they've got potentially 36 more holes to play before it's all done, that should be very exciting to have conversations with those guys as we'll get to know these people.
Terry, imagine when we were playing MDGO or Wisconsin, going to sleep on Saturday night to win a state championship. I could barely sleep. Could you imagine going to sleep to win a car?
And at that point, how many of your favorite discs are already in the water?
Yeah, right. You've already lost all your discs in the water.
That's 2.
I lose 2 every time I play there, and I play there all the time.
Yeah, exactly. So, some would ask, I think it's a fair question, why Fountain Hills versus any other spot?
Why did we pick Fountain Hills? We picked Fountain Hills because at the time, me and Cynthia were stationed in Arizona.
Okay.
We have a great rapport with the Arizona club and the Arizona community. And so we knew we could get a lot of help and support there, which we are getting. And we just figured for this time of year, it's pretty much Arizona, Texas, or Florida.
Sure.
And, it's Florida is a little far, for most people. Arizona's a little in from the coast, so it's pretty much Arizona or Texas. And I just feel like Arizona weather and Fountain's a destination that a lot of amateurs always dreamed of going. They see it on the cameras, they watch your shows, and it's picturesque, and it's something that you can put on your bucket list. I competed at the Fountain. I mean, I think if that goes away in a few years, at least you could say you did it.
Well, and then to follow that up, some of your top finishers, I believe, earned some a presence on the Pro Tour and can possibly be back there in a couple months. I mean, talk about a great excuse to go play that course.
Pro Tour card.
Okay.
Top 5 males get a Pro Tour card, and the top female of the dance got a Pro Tour card.
Awesome. Do you know who that was? Do you recall off the top of your head or no?
I'm not sure. It was on our website.
Okay.
Do you know who top female was? I haven't looked at it yet. Because
yeah, no, I don't mean to put you on the spot. I was just wondering if you happen to remember off the
We
top of your
just
head.
put up the
can
dance
take a
results
look.
this week, so.
Exactly. We'll take a look. I think that's certainly worth noting. We're going to pull it up. Again, everyone can go out to nextgendiscgolf.com. Everything Dave's talking about and then some is all out there. And you can find more information. I see Lauren Butler had done well.
I think it was Lauren Butler.
I think it was Lauren Butler.
Right.
Okay.
That sounds familiar to me, yeah.
Yeah, Lauren Butler, a top finisher at AM Worlds in 2016 in Madison. We've seen her traveling around and playing quite a bit. So if it is, in fact, her, no.
That's
I'll say
correct.
no
Now that
surprise.
you say it, that's correct.
Also, I think sponsored by Legacy Disc, our friends over there. So,
Yep, so
but
she'll get a free tour card.
awesome.
And the top 5, though, they get a free tour card and a free trip to an entry fee to any one Pro Tour. So it's not just a card. They're going to be there because they got a free paid trip.
That's ridiculous. That's awesome. And so speaking of sponsors, Latitude, of course, more than bought into this and helped underwrite so much of this entire year. What has it been like as, you being with Latitude? What has that been like having this support and this sponsorship and this collaboration and partnership with other people and with Latitude as this whole tour has developed this year?
Well, I can tell you, it wouldn't have happened without me and Cynthia. It started with me and Cynthia, and we're like the base team, and we have Pat Govang. He came in and he helped, as you know, and he's the business guy, and he's really good at that. And then we have some other staff members that have really helped out, like Colt and Grady Clifford from Portland. He's behind the scenes. Most people don't know him. But, those type of people made it happen. And then that collaboration with the sponsorship, Latitude has been working with Cynthia and I running tournaments for a few years, as you know, and we ran the Next Generation Tour in 2016. People think this is the first year, but last year it did happen. We gave away a trip to Europe, and he went to Europe and played and had a great time. And so this is the second year, and so they saw that there is some interest in it, and they have been in great support of us all along. So I think that they saw the opportunity, and Latitude has been right there for us. I mean, every step of the way, all the way to the final. I mean, if you're going to be out there in Scottsdale, you'll get to meet the owner. Dave Burlong himself from Sweden's coming in, and he'll be out there at the property. So there's a good proof of how much they're behind the Next Generation Tour. And then our other sponsors like Zuka and Shady Ray, Deck Shell. I don't want to leave anybody out. There's a whole list from Infinite Disc. They go on. And, Keen Footwear. All those people, they've helped us take it to the next level, because instead of having all these weird sponsorships from local people, we have one national sponsorship from each section. So no matter where you play or where you're from, you got the same prize.
Well, it's
it's just a really good partnership, and we are very thankful to our sponsors. But really, I want to say our true sponsors, Terry, are the 142 people that helped us run the tournaments. We had 142 events out there. I had 9 regionals with Cynthia. We had so many volunteers at the regionals, and so many people run those qualifiers for us. I mean, without them, it doesn't really exist. And they're the true sponsors, because even if we are helping compensate them in some way, it's still not what a real job pays. And so thus, they're out there on their own time giving back to the disc golf because of the great passion we're showing, Cynthia and I, in growing amateur disc golf. But, that is the true sponsor of the NG Tour, is all the people who stepped up and said, I'll run a qualifier in my area, and without them, we wouldn't have anything. And so now that we have those people in place and we have the sponsors, it's really going to grow. And I'd love to tell you about 2018. I'm super excited about what we've got planned, but I'm not allowed to say anything until after the national championship. I've been forbidden. But I can tell you, bigger and better in 2018. I don't know how we keep doing it.
Free
Conversion
cars for
van.
every registrant.
Conversion
Yeah,
van.
free cars for everybody.
You get a car, and
Yeah.
you get a car, and you handing out cars like Oprah. No, you're right. We'll curtail that conversation until after we get this year done. There's so much riding on the line. There's so much excitement, and
We need to spread this out. We've got an off season of stuff we need to fill.
yeah.
so
So
we
we'll
don't
be able
need
to
to get
talk
into
about
it
that.
tonight.
Yeah, exactly. We'll be able to talk about that after
Yeah,
this
we'll
year
come on
wraps
after
up.
the national, let's say in December sometime, and tell you what we got planned for
Yeah,
2018.
no,
That'd be great.
we're super
And,
excited.
Hopefully people can hold on to their chairs.
Yeah, it's or you get a chair, you get a
That's right. Everybody gets a tripod.
just so you can hold on to it.
Uh,
You can hold on to your hat too. All right, Dave. Is there anything else you'd like to share?
No, I just want to say again, thanks to all the sponsors, all the people out there that played, competed, supported it. Thanks to all the people who ran events and volunteers. And tune in. You know, we're putting out this live coverage. Show that there is support for amateur. Take the
Sunday.
time on Sunday to watch live. Fill out your bracketology. Why not win something free? You don't even have to watch it. Fill it out. Go on Sunday. Check and see if you won. You know, so go to nextgenerationdiscgolf.com, participate, and watch Terry's show, because we want to prove to the sponsors out there that there is interest in amateur disc golf, so we continue to grow it. If we can get a lot of people to tune in to watch your show, then we can go back and say, hey, look, we got all these people that are interested in what we did, and we want to continue to grow it, so let's take another step. And that's how we do it. So if the people at home want to see amateur disc golf grow, since that's 90% of the membership, tune in on Sunday and make Terry's numbers unforgettable.
That's the plan. Well, we
wanna do.
appreciate it. It's been awesome, working with you guys to have the releases and the updates throughout the entire year. It's been great that we're able to pass on the information that we have throughout the year and to have it all wrap up in this magnificent final day and weekend. It's
can't believe
truly
it.
exciting for us.
I mean, we've worked so hard, Cynthia and I and Pat and everybody involved, and me and Cynthia have been on the road, and I mean, we can't believe that it was a lot more work than we thought it would be. I can be honest with you there, and so we're really excited to see it come to a culmination. I think I know that me and probably Cynthia, we'll probably break into tears when we give the guy the car. That's how invested we are, so.
Make sure it's in park before he heads towards the fountain water. All right, Dave.
I bring in tissues.
there you
Well,
go.
we appreciate it. Thank you for the updates. We're looking at being there again. The date specifically, I don't want to screw it up. The date is going to be Sunday, November 19th. I think me and a couple of the crew will be showing up on Thursday.
17th.
November. That's when it starts. That's when it starts. But the actual event date, am I looking at the right year? November 19th. Is that a Sunday?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay.
Yep, that's the day we'll be live.
So the 17th and 18th, they're going to be playing their 72 holes, and then 18 more on Sunday morning, and then we'll pick up for the final 18, the 2 sets of 9, and we're going to be there, and we're just super excited to be part of it. So thank you. Thank you to
All right, well-
Cynthia, who I know works as hard or harder.
She says hello. They're thanking you.
And no
don't say
problem.
that,
And so thank you guys so much. Thanks to your entire crew, the staff, Latitude, and all the sponsors. A lot of the same sponsors that I know are supporting disc golf in various ways out there, and we appreciate each and every one of them, along with all the people that ran the events, as you said, being ultimately the backbone here. So look forward to seeing you in about 9 days or so out there, Dave.
All right. Thanks, Terry. Thanks for having us. Thanks, Johnny.
All right.
And let's keep making history.
All right,
Let's do
buddy.
it.
Sounds good.
Thanks, Dave.
All right.
See you then. Take care.
Thank you.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
Again, Dave Felberg from the Next Generation Tour joining us, and some pretty exciting stuff.
Yeah.
I know this isn't. It's a conversation that lots of people could talk about as to, well, I'm not that interested in amateur disc golf, or I don't seem to know what's going on. Well, here's a good chance.
This
Here's
is
a good
how-
chance
No-
to turn that tide a little bit.
Correct. Right now, you really only know your regional AMs.
Mm-hmm.
And then come AM Worlds or the AM Nats, usually you'll go to the PDGA site, sort by player rating, and go, okay, it's one of those 3 guys that's going to win. Usually
Mm-hmm.
is how people kind of learn those names. And they're not always the ones that win, but those are usually the heavy favorites. we can start to get a head start on that. You can start looking at these guys that maybe are going to be playing AMs for the next 2 years or 3 years on their way to try to be a world champion. They're going to start maybe with a next gen championship, then AM Nats, and then AM World. So we're really starting something fresh with this to be able to see these young kids step up.
Or they could be old. They could be old like you and
old,
me,
or
and
old
just coming
kids.
into their own.
Or old kids.
It doesn't matter. Yeah, exactly. The amateur status is going to be awesome to see this unfold. This will definitely be giving us a glimpse, as you were just saying, to them, their styles, their personalities, the game that they do or don't have. You know, how many different times are we going to see, oh, that so-and-so just is so good if they could only, drive with a forehand, or if they could only, putt better, or
they're really weak from 150 to 200 feet or something.
Or look at that guy who, has made 9 circle 2 putts, but can't seem to make the, the 15 footers. Those are all things that we're going to be learning about these new players, both good and bad, as to their styles and their skill sets, and also their personalities, which I think will be really cool. I'll be interested to see how many of them, as it continues to whittle down, how many of them do I know or have any tie to from anywhere else in the country, whether they're from Wisconsin or the Midwest or from anywhere else that I've maybe run into some of these players. That's what I'm also kind of excited to see, and of course to meet some new fresh faces and people out there as well. And speaking of fresh faces, Phoenix Ruger Redbird, got to finally meet him this last weekend. One of the many people I talked about at the Phoenix Ladies Open out there in the Phoenix area. He immediately introduced himself on Friday night when I came to town. Thank you. You're always on the board, super supportive and polite, and giving great input and feedback. And then getting a chance to walk around with you a little bit on this weekend was awesome as well. So nice to meet you, and thanks for being a big supporter of the Phoenix Ladies Open this weekend.
I sent Dana a message. We'll see if he's interested in joining the show, or if he's...
it's a big follow-up.
It's hard to follow Dave.
And it's hard to follow up hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of stuff that's given away. But we'll see if Dana may, in fact, join us. And I also, like I said, reached out to one Sarah Holcomb, albeit a little bit late on my side. Well, very late, even for my standards. We may or may not see Sarah at some point tonight. Don't hold your breath, but it may happen. Did you take a look at any other event results? I know we could get into the Phoenix Ladies Open. If you'd like, I could pull up some of those, but I didn't know if you had any other event results, or we'll just wait for Dana to see if he joins us. Is that where you're going with that? I'm picking up what you're putting down here finally, Johnny. One way or another. While we stall for a moment, I'm going to make a quick plug. Cold Turkey 12 is, in fact, registrations are rolling in hot and heavy. No surprise. Sundays, amateurs, all amateurs that aren't advanced level, so are all juniors, all recreational, all novice, all intermediate, are all playing on Sunday. So I've got 72 spots set aside for that. I want to say it's more than half full. So that's Sunday, the weekend after we see Dave and that crew. So Sunday the 26th is PDGA C-Tier. Going to do a super big players pack. There might be some flight prizes or something, and then trophy only. So no regular version payout. Your player pack's going to be at least worth 150% of what you signed up for. Woo. So that's happening. And then Saturday is all the advanced divisions, advanced men, women, grandmasters, masters, all those, plus all pro divisions. That registration's a little bit slower. I don't know if this is the right or wrong time, but I think I need to lower, and I'm not saying this is what stifled any of the registration, or maybe it has. I think I need to lower the registration. I realize that it's a little out of whack, and it's a little too much for what I consider a C-Tier registration fee. So if 13 people have signed up, I'm going to contact the 13 people and say, hey, you get a rebate. You get a refund. You got a few bucks coming back your way, and I think I want to lower all the registrations by like $5 or $10. I think they're just a little out of whack, which I know is a weird move on my part, but and maybe that is. Maybe someone's looking at a C-Tier and saying, I don't know if I want to pay $60 or $65 for a one-day C-Tier. I feel like I'm going to give you good value on a great course and a well-run event. But
I understand that it's a C-Tier, but it's also an established C-Tier. It's 12 years running. $65 for an event that people, for the most part, know on a fantastic course run by a mediocre TD
At best. On
at
a good
best.
day.
No, but run by you, who's been doing this for 12 years. I just think I kind of feel like the tier is.
Is the tier irrelevant, or is
To
or
me-
dare I say, is the registration irrelevant? The
to me,
amount?
to me, the tier is irrelevant. Maybe not to everybody, but that's just because I know the event in general. So,
just
you know,
as a reference point,
if Mad City Open was a B tier next year and not an A tier like it is, does that change your mind about anything? Knowing what we know about Mad City Open, you're like,
good
eh,
courses,
good-
solid, yeah.
solid,
Sure.
you know. So that's kind of how I feel like B tier versus C tier for this type of event. I just, me.
Well, and
Meh.
I'll admit, the first part I think about when creating entry fees and talking about payouts, everybody, I know this sounds all too obvious, everybody says, man, I just, I won an event, I wish I got more, I wish there was more payout. Well, one way to get more payout is to raise entry fees, make the stakes a little bit higher. And I feel like if you're serious and you're playing in tournaments, and then again, some people may say, well, yeah, I don't want to pay that much to go play in any given one event for one day. So who knows? But either way, I think.
I mean, that could be an issue. The money. I don't think the tier is an issue personally.
Oh, correct. I don't think it's as much the tier. I think it is a little bit. If anything, it would be more so that the money, it maybe is just a little pricier than what you're used to.
Oh, that's cute. Seth Steinway says, I played in -6 degrees weather once.
Oh,
Aw. What was the temperature at Crack Plastic that year that it was super nasty and windy? Did it dip down to -20 with wind chill?
If I
-20 or -30?
if we went back and looked,
Do you remember which year I'm talking about?
the year I won, I remember that.
Was it? Okay.
It was like negative. Well, no, there's a year I won when it was even colder than I think the year you're talking about. And I say that because I don't know. Well, I know I traveled there with Scott Reek, who withdrew.
Mhm.
And I don't know if you and Steve also took a separate car, but I went there with Scott Reek,
Yeah.
and it had dipped. They were talking like -30, -40 with wind chill. It literally. Now I want to go look
I just
up the
remember.
year.
I remember looking, watching how windy it was down some of the fairways in the most open area of the course, which isn't a lot, but just watching the wind whip and thinking like, what am I doing out here? And it's one of those times you just like, I'm doing this now for the experience. Just say, yeah, I played in like, -10, -20 degree weather with dipping down with wind chill, maybe down to -30, and you're just bundled up. You rip your glove off, throw your glove back on with your hand warmer in it. So that's cute stuff.
No, we're just giving you a hard time. But yes, it has. There's been some pretty nasty cold days out there, and to put it in perspective, I know a lot of people don't realize just how you should be shooting under par at Colebrook. I think I shot like an even and a 2 over to win the Open division, which is laughable on any other given.
Yeah, that's Colebrook in Kalamazoo, Michigan.
Kalamazoo,
right
which was
outside of
played for
Kalamazoo.
Worlds. And so right now I'm looking at I was going to see if this was the year. It looks like I won in 2005. I feel like it was after that. Yes. Well, here's a reference point. I don't know if we played the same amount of holes. In 2005, it looks like I shot a 67 and a 63. That's probably on a par 72. So that would be 5 down.
I don't think that's the same year.
No, this was not the same year. That's for sure. I was just trying to give a reference point in terms of scores. Shot 130 on the day. Anyway.
And we're not hearing anything back from Dana, so I think we're going to just start talking about some event results right now, rather than try to fill any more time with
That's a good call.
with our history of Kalamazoo, Michigan. My headphones keep clicking. I'm not sure what it is. Like something's bumping them. My kids were messing with them.
I bet you it was February 2008. Now I'm going to look up the day.
Well, whatever.
Yeah.
Let's get into some
Three over.
PDGA results here. Why don't you talk about the PLO, since that's kind of the big event that happened? That's the Phoenix Ladies Open. You were out there doing some filming
Yes.
and watching some fantastic golf.
Yeah, this is like so. I say this all the time. There's obviously this massive increase in women's only events. I think that does the most amazing things for the community, for the the women's divisions in general. I think it creates this sense of growth and development when the women are treated above and beyond. Some would say pampered and then some, but just this idea of having so many women together enjoying disc golf. Like a lot of the other events, they try to have caddies for every single woman, I believe, that wants one. I don't know how close they were. I believe they may have even, met that goal. I know that the Rocky Mountain Women's does that year after year. And not only at the Rocky Mountain Women's do they have a caddy for every single woman, but the caddies pay to caddy to actually do that, which also goes into the purse. So this is in its 12th year. I was there last year, and I was again there this year. And I'm going to start off with a few of the, and I wasn't all the way there to the bitter end with all of the awards as they were trying to tabulate everything. But I'm going to read off a few of the women. Trina, I don't know how to pronounce your last name, Trina. Anthony Barella's mother, Trina Lettig, is your champion. She won by 7 strokes in Masters Women. Lisa Reich in Grandmaster Women. Lisa, a big supporter. Thank you, Lisa, and congrats on your win. Anya Singer of Team Legacy taking down Advanced Women, pushing into a tie tying for the hottest round during that second round, but winning it by 1. Congratulations. Advanced Masters Women, Patricia Miller Aceto. Advanced Grandmasters, Carrie Brodeur. Ashley Stevens taking down Intermediate Women. In Rec Women, Madison Fawcett. Mattia Begay in Junior 2 Girls. And Kylie Shenovar in Junior 4 Girls. And in Junior 5 Girls, Marley Peterson. One of the things that they do, just like at the Rocky Mountain Women's, which I love, is the junior girls played just 1 round. And the youngest divisions, I think for a lot of the girls, that is maybe just the right amount of golf.
Well, for sure. I mean, you're looking at some of the scores, plus 24, plus 36, plus 58, plus 51. That's a lot of throws for a kid.
It is.
Just
and
let them play around.
Get the experience.
Let them feel like they're part of the event, which they are. Get that under their belt. Let these people know, and these women know, and these girls know that it's fun to come out and play. That it doesn't have to be a grueling 2 or 3 round event for them. Let's ease them into this type of tournament. So I'm excited.
Yeah, it was. I believe last year they had 80 some, high 70s or low 80s. This year I know they were really close to it. And then when it was all said and done, as I pull up the chart, I know that they exceeded their number, and then they had a few here and there. They ended up having 91 competitors. So they played a 19-hole course. They added an additional hole that played up from near the bathrooms, if you've been there, down to the practice basket area of hole number, what's normal hole 1 if you go out to the course, which is like hole 13 on the Memorial layout.
Yeah.
So they had played 19 holes per round. And now, if you want to wait for my footage for a few more days, then here comes your spoiler alert. I'm about to announce the top 4 or 5 women in Open. Taking 4th place was Kona Star-Panis. Taking 3rd place was Katrina Allen. 2nd place, Vanessa Van de Venter from Las Vegas area. And your champion, your 2012 Women's World Champion, in Sarah Hokum. And Hokum playing just great golf. She had the lead after round 1. I think she had the lead by 3 strokes.
Yes. She shot almost 1,000 rate. It was 994.
Yeah, she had the lead after round 1. I had asked her, I said something like, nice round. I think I just briefly saw the scores during lunch. I said, nice round. Do you know where you are or whatever? She's like, no, I don't really care. I said, well, spoiler alert. You maybe have to tee off first during the second round to give you some indication of where you rate. But she didn't know exactly the score. She didn't really care to know where the scores were at. Obviously, it wasn't going to change up her game plan much. And she went out and she just played really, really good golf. I just thoroughly enjoyed watching it. It ended up being 4 women in the lead card. And it was the 4 that I just mentioned. with Sarah, Vanessa, Katrina, and Kona. And I'm going to go ahead and say one, just like we said about the Next Gen Tour, just about anytime I talk about traveling or getting around the country and being in places that are maybe not what you'd consider like, just the standbys, just the obvious events to get to, and to get to a few of the other ones outside of that. It was the first time I'd seen Kona play an entire round. Obviously, huge social media presence and very active in what she does. Also, my first time watching Vanessa play a round of golf. And Vanessa, who had the hottest score of all the women during of the day. I was going to say of the second round. She had the hottest score of 46 during that second round, which was also then the hottest score of all the pro women.
And what is her strength?
It's just throwing in from 60 feet all the time.
Really?
Like, come on. Like, her putting is, first of all, a little bit unconventional, just a little bit.
Okay.
On a line, dead center, no big deal. That's
great.
It was awesome. It was awesome to see the skill set, to see her play. Last year, I saw Azriel play during the final round, who was a newer face that I'd never seen her play a full round. And this year, the newest person that I had seen and featured on that lead card was Vanessa. And her PDGA number is 32232. I mean, she's been playing for a number of years. I've never had the pleasure of watching her play in a tournament before, and just nothing but impressive. And as Sarah will say, she also has one of the loudest, most distinct, and unique, contagious laughs you will ever find when she's out there. She's having a good time, playing very well, or not. She definitely is the type that even if she wasn't having a good round, she would have been having a good time. I'm excited to put the footage together and to have everyone partake. It was awesome to see. So
Phoenix Ruger Redbird says that it looks a lot like Own's putt with no wobble. Well, if that's the case,
yeah.
I mean, I think Own is one of the most deadly, not just females, but players on tour inside the circle. She rates up there to me almost with like Josh Anthon, where I say, oh, inside the circle? In. It's one of those. So if Vanessa's that good, I'm kind of amazed. That I'm looking forward to seeing your footage.
Yeah, she started out hot. She can just continue to play well throughout the entire round. And when it was all shook out, I mean, of course, Sarah Holcomb's got to be fortunate, or Sarah's fortunate that she had her by as many strokes as she did going into that second round, because she had the hottest round. She played very solid throughout, wasn't shaken at any point. And I feel like she even let a few go. Again, spoiler alert if you're holding out, but she shot 11 under that round on 19 holes and was birdieing from everywhere. And she parked a few holes, and then the rest she just threw in.
Gonna throw it in.
I was like, what? I'm just in bewilderment. I'm like, what is going on here? And just out there having a good time. So. It was awesome. Thank you. Your co-TDs, I believe, in Pete Ulibarri and Mike Spencer. I know those were the two that headed it up, along with the massive staff that was out there. All hands on deck. I said it countless times. I think of Ashley and I think of Keith, both from Spinners on the Green. Gracious host as well out at Vista del Camino, and Phoenix Ruger Redbird. All the caddies that were out there, all the sponsors. I want to then again thank Dan Harbeck, ended up as a partial sponsor for the coverage. So thank you, Dan Harbeck, a Smashy. I want to thank Peter Hildebrandt, also a Smashy and a supporter of the coverage. Thank you so much. And then also the PDGA stepped up and helped support the coverage as well. So thank you to those three to help make it possible. And just excited. I wish I could be putting the footage together right now. It was a crazy, departure out of there. I ended up spending a little bit of time in Vegas very quickly. I tried to take in every minute, everywhere I could. It was a long, maybe this isn't a surprise, but it was a long day and a half or so, whatever that came out to be, in Vegas. And
they all are.
That's what I was just going to say. I know I'm not unique in saying that. but then tomorrow I head to a park and rec trade show. So this week's like half.
When do
over
you come
for me.
back?
The day after that. But then Thursday morning, I am. This is kind of a. We'll see where this goes. There's a local Wisconsin-based television show that I'm meeting with on Thursday. I don't even think I told you about
Not
this.
yet.
Breaking news.
Wow.
I'm meeting with them on Thursday. I think they're trying to sell me on the idea of buying some kind of programming on the actual show, which I don't think is going to work. I know it's not going to work. We're not buying any programming time, but I'm still interested to find out about this process. And maybe I don't know what to expect, but I told them I'd love to meet up with them.
Okay.
Find out more about the process. I'd be curious to know what things cost. I mean, these are all things that even if they're not practical for us right now, they could be someday.
Yeah.
Maybe not.
Yeah.
So I'm going to have that meeting on Thursday morning and then just get back in time Thursday night for a daughter's she's got a concert of sort at school. So this week's almost gone already, it feels like.
You busy this weekend? Or are you going to come to our party?
I'm actually not even going to be around probably either
Thanks,
this weekend.
How about your wife?
Yeah.
You can come.
You can whatever.
All right, let's talk about the 4th annual Buffalo Run presented by Native Disc Golf. This is out of McAllister, Oklahoma. We had a very, very nice turnout. The assistant tournament director, Matt House, tournament director, TJ Goodwin. This is the one that reached out to you at the last minute to try to get you out there, but you were obviously busy at the PLO. No surprise. Cleaning up Ricky Wysocki, shooting 43 under par. 1079, 1041, 1045, taking home $900. Follow that up with Greg Barsby at -36, Coda Hatfield at -35, Brandon Cawthorn, Kevin Jones, then Avery Jenkins, then the disc golf boy AJ Risley. So congratulations, all those guys. Well done. Open women, for the strong woman I know, Jen Allen, shooting -3, beating her competition by 20 strokes, taking home $300.
Boom.
So that is your 4th annual Buffalo Run.
That was a PDGA A tier. Was it the?
It is
It was one of 2 A tiers
Correct.
taking place. Yes, I was going to say the only one, but no, there was another one which also had a nice field in it as well.
It did. The 20th annual. I always love it when we see these big numbers, like the 20th annual. Our sport is really truly expanding and just thriving when you see these events that just continue to go on and on and on. Out in Williamsburg, Virginia, tournament director John Roy, assistant tournament director Tommy Douglas. This is the 20th annual Fall Colors presented by Dynamic Disc. The East Coast phenomenon, Michael Joe,
MJ.
winning by 1 over Chris Dickerson, winning by 2 over Paul McBeth. This was Paul's last chance to not take top 10 and wreck you, because I believe he said he's not playing any more events this year. But,
yes. Where's my $100 bill, y'all?
So it went 25 under par with Michael Joe, 24 for Chris Dickerson, 23 for McBeth. Andrew Fish then a couple strokes behind that, about 5 strokes, and then James Conrad at 10 under, Melton at 8. So that had a very, very solid turnout for those top 10 players. So congratulations to Michael Joe for taking home $1,300. He did that by shooting 1064, 1042, 1062. Looks like McBeth averaged about 1048 golf, right around there. So in the open women, there's a field of 7. The immortal Elaine King, shooting 6 over par, beating Heather Zimmerman by 18 strokes, and then Hannah Croak by 2 more than that, so by 20 strokes. Elaine won $515. She shot a 917, 976, and a 951. Just good golf in general. Remember, Elaine King just won't stop winning. I don't think she's ever going to stop winning, to be honest.
And of course, Elaine King. Elaine King's in the open division winning these tournaments.
Yeah, she's not winning Masters.
I know,
because she could have played Masters women. There was 2 other people in that field. She could have taken home probably $350, something along those lines, $340, $350 to do that. but she steps up. She plays, and I'll say this, based on her player rating, she played in the correct division. She's a 931 rated player. So there's no, I will never fault her if she does decide to play Masters women someday, but I just don't see that day in the next 10 years. Not the way she continues to play. Maybe at some really big events, but other than that.
And that's exactly the point.
Kind of like a Johnny McRae.
Yeah, just trying to drive home that she is eligible to play in other divisions. I very rarely click on her name. When's the last time?
I'm not even gonna look. I'm gonna have to sit and click back probably.
No. I'm sure at some of the big majors where she's competed in some of the other divisions. See, I know she played Worlds.
She played Masters at Dog Crown,
the Pro Masters men,
Dogwood Crosstown Classic. Yes, Masters men, Masters women at
PDGA Worlds,
and the USWDGC.
Correct. So, but yet, the majority of her events.
Just open women.
So very, very impressive. Sorry, Phoenix Ruger Redberg giving a quick callback says you forgot to mention that Vanessa plays with a starter bag that holds 6 discs. Yes, that too.
Hey, when you have the right 6 discs, the
That's
ones
all
that
matters.
you know that this is my overstaple, this is my stable, this is my understaple disc, and a mid-range and 2 mid-ranges and a putter. That's what you need.
All right, so Paul Macbeth, top 10. That's what I heard there.
You did.
And I only hear that because that's a wager that I placed at the beginning of the year, saying that any event that Paul Macbeth plays in and completes, that he would finish in the top 10, and he's done just that. So I think that's a cool $100 bill.
I'm assuming it is. So those are your A tiers this week. We're gonna see less and less of them, so we might have to start dipping down into some B tier, some big B tiers,
or the cold turkey C tier coming up in just
because next week I'm looking at next week, and we have no A tiers next week. I don't know if we're gonna see another A tier. Oh yeah, there's 1 or 2 more left this year, but yeah, I mean we've got a couple of really big events, C tiers,
and to further that point, I think if you scroll down to next month. I think I've been having the conversations, and maybe it's not. Go ahead and click on. Yeah, there you go. A tier, December 14th, 15th, 16th. Is it the last A tier of the year? Is that what we're seeing?
The South Florida Open.
I've been talking with South Florida Open. I think I'm going to be there.
The SFO?
Yeah.
Not San Francisco?
No. The SFO at West Palm Beach. And I said, if I have to go to Florida in December, I could probably have my arm twisted and make it work. That's all on the horizon. So look for more details on that coming up soon. But
the footage won't stop.
Yeah, exactly. That's what's awesome. All right. Anything else out in the disc golf news world that you've seen? I know you talked about other podcasts.
No,
cute little.
Lots of people still talking about some of the, the A tiers coming out, some of the rules changes still. Those are still hot threads. Other than that, disc golf news is kind of dying down.
Well, I think that is, as we said, it was November 2nd or 3rd when the A tier schedule had gotten released, and
it was 6 days ago.
On the plane ride out to Phoenix, I started piecing together next year's schedule of where we're going to be, planning on the live events, then planning on some more than likely post-production situations and whatnot. And of course, the year just continues to compact and get, I don't want to say shorter and shorter, it gets longer and longer in terms of the workload. And, someone had made note of, it looks like, the Kansas City Wide Open, and this is a local, I believe it was Jerry out there, talking about the Kansas City Wide Open potentially conflicting with, for instance, the Beaver State Fling. And Scott Reek, the tournament director of the KC Wide Open, is like, I knew that, and it is what it is. It doesn't really bother me. I mean, clearly events of those size now, especially with the KC Wide Open being an A tier and not on the national tour, of course, this year, clearly events of that size flourish and thrive and have no problem because they're such great events. It's really only a personal preference when someone says, man, I'm kind of disappointed I don't get to play the KC Wide Open or the Beaver State.
Sure.
You may actually have to choose one of the two. But dare I say, good problem to have.
Good problem to have. Like I was saying earlier in the show, next year we're not going to have any shortage of events in your area. No matter practically where in the continental U.S. you are, or if you're in Finland, probably, there will be no shortage of events. So, and I love the KC Wide Open. It's one of my favorite events, but it doesn't quite have the draw that it used to, unless it's a national tour event. It seems like it's one of those events that players now, if it's not a national tour event, if they can go, great. If it's on the way, if it's between Pro Tour and National Tour or something like that, that's awesome. And a lot of players love those courses. Swope and Waterworks are some classic, really fun courses to play. But unless they're going to throw those 2 NT letters behind it, it's not going to pull in your national crowd like it used to. So, and I'd love to see it become a national tour event again.
Yeah, and
it wouldn't surprise me if we see it in the next 3 years.
Yeah, I'm guessing that it again will be just that. It's just a matter of which year within the rotation as they kind of swap out year to year, getting them into the rotation. Excuse me, the event, the city, the sponsors all have to be prepped and on board for all of that too, which is, I don't ever want to downplay. I know some people even here locally have said, oh, I don't believe this event isn't such and such. And it's like, that's great for a lot of outsiders to say, oh, I really wish this event was an A tier, or why aren't we hosting a Pro Worlds here this year? Well, that's because it takes an absurd amount of money and time and energy and effort. And as much as you'd love to have it there, it's more than just wishing it for it to happen. So, all right. I'm trying to check in on the board. It looks like a lot of conversation as to what just took place with the Phoenix Ladies Open, which, again, is great.
You'll have your footage out.
I really honestly thought, oh, I'll have no problem. It'll be out by Thursday or Friday. And now that I'm home and realize I have 0 minutes to myself to edit, I'd like it out still by this weekend. Okay. I think that's pretty realistic. As I can hammer away on some of the editing. I don't know what day.
Yeah, you'll figure it out.
I'll figure it out. Maybe pulling an all-nighter Thursday night. But I do want to get it all put out. In fact, just a little other tease to that. Ultimately, what I'd like to do is put together a little montage from the morning round of lots of different shots, lots of different people. Mm-hmm. Kind of release that as, hey, here's everybody having a good time. Here's the whole thing. And then there's a specific shot-by-shot coverage for the lead card of the women's second round. So that's kind of the strategy for it. So,
do you have anything? Have you seen? I know you've been busy, so you haven't really probably had your.
Yeah, no, I haven't seen too much. I think I saw today a post that involved Simon and Philo in Croatia this weekend. Does that at all ring a bell to you? Did you see anything of that? I don't know if it's on the PDGA site maybe.
I haven't seen that, but I know that Philo was going over there. There's some huge party. It's like a week-long party.
Oh, well, in that case.
With a disc golf tournament thrown in there, I believe. And Philo was invited over, and Philo can't turn down a party. So I heard Simon says it's one of the most fun weeks that he can think of.
Okay, so here it is. It was an XC tier, which I know we don't normally give a lot of love to, but being in Croatia, Varazdin, I don't think I slaughtered that too bad. Varazdin, not Verizon, Varazdin, Croatia. Simon Lizotte won. He had a 5-stroke margin of victory over Philo Brathwaite. So Simon rated 1041, taking down Philo at 1022. And then Jacob Gusenbauer and tied for third with Rafe Hooper. Okay. There clearly was a separation in the field. Simon at 31 under par, Philo at 26 under par, and then the next two guys were tied at 10 under par. So you saw the superstars roll into town and get it done there. So 105 players with Simon coming out on top. And of that, interestingly enough, like you find in a lot of the European events, I think, 90 of them, there's an open division. And that includes 804 rated player, 790 rated player, a few non-PDGA members mixed in there, sub 900 players, just everyone's in open.
That's where we should go to play then.
Yeah.
You and I
we could take top 10 there maybe. Okay, top 20.
Top
-ish.
20 maybe if we're lucky.
Jonathan Baldwin. Okay. Sorry, I wasn't scrolling down. Jonathan Baldwin took a well.
Sorry,
I didn't
Jonathan
scroll
Baldwin,
down
I didn't
further,
scroll down far
but
enough to
he
see
finished
you.
in a tie for 9th.
Uh,
So Jonathan Baldwin out there as well, rated 998. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Saw that just quickly cross my board today.
Carver G asks, "Where's Dana?"
Yeah, Dana was sleepy tonight.
Dana slept, and then I woke him up apparently, and I really wanted to hopefully get him on the show so we can test his new internet Wi-Fi that we got him. But
Did he say that he has it? Does it work?
It's all set up and installed. He said
That's good. So next
said
time,
it was really easy.
okay. Well,
Google
hopefully
Wi-
next time
Yeah, Google Wi-Fi.
Dana will be a little cleaner and clearer for us moving forward. So I saw that, and then
There's like the U.S. Mini.
the
Disc
U.S.
Golf
Minis
Championship.
took place this weekend. Yes, and I believe that was hosted by Matt Dollar. I believe he was one of the primary or the co-TD of sorts, but I believe he was the primary TD at U.S. Mini Championships. I think there was some regular golf involved at some point as well. But Lula Park, Lulu Park, presented by MVP this weekend. And is there stats out there for us?
There are actually. You can find those out on Disc Golf Scene. It looks like winning Matt Dollar, shooting 52, 48, 49, and then the final 9 looked like he shot a 27. So he won $500. Followed up by Kevin McCoy, Jimmy Hadley, Snappy Cole, Nick Shonsky, John Matlick, and then a bunch of other people. So
Okay.
it looked like there was 20 people, 19, 20 people that were registered for the Open. Open Women, Kelly Tucker takes down the Mini Championship. So
Yes, I saw that post as well by Kelly. So looks like it was probably a lot of fun. How many different rounds did it play? There's a whole stats out there. 3 rounds of 18, a final 9, players packs, video coverage, all sorts of stuff. So look for that to be released soon, probably on Matt Dollar's page. So, and Jeff asked on the board, how far can someone throw a mini?
I don't know the details. What minis I thought I saw someone using not the minis, but junior discs. Were they using those, or was it strictly?
I'm sure it was strictly, and I bet you if you read on there, there might be some as to what constitutes and or if there's any type of
The minis must have a diameter of 4.5 inches or less.
Okay.
So yes, so it is the standard old school small mini, right?
No, 4.5 inches is still
Oh yeah, that's
pretty
gonna
large.
be-
Yeah. 4. I don't know who's been lying to you about 4.5.
You're the one that said it, buddy.
And also it says that they must weigh less than 51
51
grams. So, however, all those numbers work out for you guys. Any wooden or it says
No wooden or metal minis are allowed. No minis made with a 3D printer, and no medium, junior, or macro style discs.
Huh. So there you go.
That's a fun. This is what I think we need more of, especially this time of year. Looking at mini events, this tends to be more of a doubles season fall, at least in Wisconsin area, in the Midwest. We
Doubles,
see that
glow, doubles glow.
I want to see more of that pushing in our sport. I think now's a really good time to do crazy formats, crazy courses with all sorts of fun stuff. You know, we always used to joke with the ripped cards that used to be out there.
Mhm.
I want to see more of that type of format in our off season.
Well, and a post that you're going to see from me, and it kind of follows.
Probably not.
Yes, everyone's going to see that. You're going to see me follow up on when I was walking around in Vegas. I took a picture, and it exactly what you're talking about. I took a picture of a competition taking place, and of course, there's a lot more money in it because it's golf, traditional ball golf. And again, I'll post this in the next few days. Oh, actually, it just looks like it wrapped up. I didn't even realize it was taking place. And it's called the Major Series of Putting. It's free admission, and it says Putt for Millions, October 27th through November 5th in Las Vegas, MSOP Stadium, located behind Planet Hollywood. Which is funny, I didn't see any of that. I guess I saw
When
a
it
few
says
golf
putt
shirts.
for millions,
I'm guessing this is
my guess is that they've got. My guess is there's some stipulation that says, oh, look, if you hit all of these putts from all these spots, you can win $1 million. But I'm guessing otherwise it's not your traditional like the winner's gonna get $1 million.
Well, I guess there's only one way to find out.
Otherwise, I would almost for sure guess you might see some pro golfers out there. Like,
all right, so real quickly, I just went out to msop.com. Again, I'm going to post this because I think it's a great conversation piece to talk about different formats. That's exactly what you were talking about. Mini competitions, long drive, which are much tougher. Putting competition. There's no reason there shouldn't be a putting championships taking place somewhere. That'd be awesome to get people together.
Yeah,
I agree. It could be in a gym. It could be held anywhere. Pick a great location for it. And in fact, weather doesn't factor in nearly as much if you're going to do this indoors somewhere right now. Mm-hmm. I think you may have just, between these two, we may have just come on something. So it shows October 27th. Entry fee is $1,000 for turbo singles, whatever that means. Winner's purse is $15,000. There's a stroke play championship that took place October 28th and 29th. It says entry fee of $5,000. I don't know if that's per individual or what, but it said the winner's purse was $75,000.
I would be curious to know if that's the winner or the entire purse for winning.
And then here is the this last weekend took place the High Roller Invitational. High Roller being the world's largest Ferris wheel located outside the Link. So that's why it's called the High Roller Invitational. One putt for one drop is what it's called, and it says the winner's purse is $110,000. Top 16 match play, 32 max, 4 places paid. Top 4 places paid. So yeah, we could probably read through this and get all sorts of really interesting ideas. There's a file. I think we should be there covering this live on Smashbox if they'd pay us.
If they'd pay us.
We'll cover anything. You want us to cover your wedding? If you pay us. You want us to cover your kid's soccer game? If you pay us. If you want us to cover your
bar mitzvah?
If you pay us. Whatever you want, we could come your high school graduation, your son or daughter's high school graduation, whatever. Smashbox can cover anything live. So anyway, that was my point. Is and it perfectly goes along with what you're just saying. Having some unique formats, doing some stuff out of the ordinary. I'm looking at $15,000 checks being handed out and written, and $20,000 checks and all this other stuff on the website. So pretty cool.
Ryan Pilcher says that his buddy was in that putting competition. He barely missed the cut to get a paid trip to Vegas for the finals.
Ah, okay. So I'm guessing it took place on that 28th, 29th weekend, and then this last weekend is when it looks like it all. There was then some follow-up. So pretty interesting. I'll have to go out there and actually do some research. I just saw a sign while walking from one spot to another. I was like, disc golf could be doing some. Well, we're not paying out $110,000, but disc golf.
Well, if we have $5,000 entry fees, we will.
That's a good point. When you know,
I was just saying,
what
would
anyone else put up that kind of money when they know
Ricky's going to show up?
Ricky's going to be there.
Paul might,
or
Yuli might.
Okay,
and it depends how you format it. Is it just a straight 30, 60, 90, 120 foot putts, or can you tell people, hey, we're going to throw in, you got to go Annie around this particular pole. You need to go. You need to stand here and hyzer around this particular pole. You need to go under these particular branches, quote unquote, or like a height restriction obstacle. You have to throw one over. You have to throw some sort of turbo putt. You could throw other things, and I don't particularly love the turbo putt idea, but I'm just saying you could throw different things at it. So it's not just a straight line up, hit your putt. As great as that is, and as much fun as it is to watch people do that when the pressure is on, I would rather see more variety in our putting. I think you could get a little bit more interest out of it that way.
Yeah, vary it up a little bit. Yeah, not just make it It could be stations, different stations, like you're saying, with different obstacles, but also I think there could be timed rounds or not timed rounds. I think there could be
Oh, easy speed golf boy.
no, okay. But yeah, lots of different ways you could vary it, different categories, maybe categories you enter, or other ones, you go a la carte. You show up to the event and there's going to be 12 different putting competitions, and you pick and choose which ones you want to pay for. I don't want to be in the speed putting, or no, I don't want to be in or I do want to be in the how many consecutive putts can you make. You get 3 sessions, and you just keep going until you miss. There's a weird but interesting way to do it. There's a lot of different ways you could format that, and I think you could have a lot of fun with it. And I think in the right environment, it would be very easy. It'd be some work to
And you could even
bracketed systems, non-bracketed,
Yeah.
teams, not teams, various games, whether you're
different
playing 21.
baskets.
Yeah,
You could do marksman, like this is a marksman week.
sure. Oh man, so many great ideas here.
We're just
So
throwing them out for people.
we are. So when
Unless
you want,
we do them, then don't do it.
if you want to team up, make this happen, and you want some coverage of it, I'd want to play too, but I would help cover it. So let's make that happen. I think there's a lot of ideas.
Okay, Barry. We're not the American Disc Golf Tour here. You can't play and commentate.
I would only do that if there's, of course, then Hooters girls doing the scoreboards.
We can arrange that.
No, we'd up class. Tilted kilt.
Sure. I couldn't think of anything better.
I know
than that.
tilted kilt's it came to mind because there's a tilted kilt in Vegas.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, doubles where your partner must catch your.
Your disc in his mouth.
We're gonna move on from there. And Seth Fenley, Disco Pro Tour social media guy, and maybe my roommate down in Florida in a few weeks, has said, isn't that something along the lines of what Pete May was doing? It's interesting you say that, because Pete May had the Hot Shot game that he's invented or developed or invented, and that's discs from 5-foot increments, maybe ranging from 10 to 30 or 40 or 50 feet. And then the discs are weighed slightly different,
Yeah.
and then worth different point totals. But you have to make them. You go from one station at a time. I think you have to start in the front actually, but you go from one station and you step back, and there's Hot Shot. It's called Hot Shot. Free plug for you, Pete and crew. Hot Shot scoring. That's another game. Similar but different. I think that's one style that could be at any given weekend. I think Hot Shot could be part of it, but you're not using your own discs. You're using varied weighted discs, and they're not true regular golf discs. They're a little bit more of a almost. I think they were using what are they called? Sonics. That's what they were.
Oh yeah.
They're
the
various
ridged.
different weighted Sonics.
Yeah, I imagine I was thinking, not even just marksman basket. I just keep using marksman because the skinnier baskets. But imagine cutting down the height. Your regular basket
Funny you say this.
where you bring down the top and bring up the bottom, and you say, oh, guess what? This is your square you need to hit now, and you don't have the full basket.
All right. Well, funny you say that, because other things in the news. Perfect segue unknowingly, Johnny. I saw just today, DGA released a new portable basket.
Really?
And it's called the DGA Shift. I don't know if we want to give them a free advertisement and play their little 1-minute clip.
We'll build them for this.
But DGA released a new basket, and I like what they're doing with it. They have a 1-minute video that at least was on Facebook. But Johnny's showing it on the screen now. And as you watch, you can adjust the basket, and you spoke of height. So you mentioned Marksman, which has been the skinnier style pole that we've seen. So there's really 3 different settings on the DGA Shift.
Yeah, it looks like it can be about the standard size of a basket. You can squeeze the top in, so it's the standard height, but thinner. But then you can also lower it, so it's about 2/3 maybe. It's hard to tell. Maybe it's not even that much. 2/3 the height. So you're actually shrinking the vertical space that you have.
Correct. So in the sense that you're, like you said, you can have a skinnier target that you're The skinnier your target to throw to, or or the shortened.
3-in-1 basket design is what it's
And it's called the DGA Shift.
Yep. You can go to discgolf.com and you can look at the DGA
And when
Shift
you're
there.
interested in purchasing your DGA Shift, contact yours truly, Terry Miller, the Disc Golf Guy, and we could get one shipped out to you. We'll ship a shift before I ship my pants. I said ship my pants, like the old Kmart commercial used to say. One of my favorite sets of commercials.
That is a great commercial.
Ah, I loved them.
All right, well, let's think about wrapping this up.
Yeah.
We'll go into some after show.
What are we giving away in the after show, you ask?
I didn't ask.
Okay, there you go. We're going to give away this orange Smashbox TV bar stamp disc. We had done a run with Innova a few years ago, 2015. The late 2015 is actually, I think, when these arrived. And this is I individually numbered all the different models. I think we had 8 different models, and KC Pro AVR was one of those models, and this is number 16 out of 25 in my sloppy handwriting. But brand new, never thrown, and we'll be giving away this tonight. Our winner, who I don't remember his name off the top of my head, our winner from last week hasn't reached back out to us to give us his Legacy lightweight hoodie size. So we need to get that before I can send it to him. And of course, if you want to be eligible for the giveaways, patreon.com/SmashboxTV. Contribute at any level, and that will in fact make you eligible to win our weekly giveaways that take place on Tuesday nights, usually right around when we kick off the after show. So that's how you can be part of that.
Not only that, but it gets you early access to the audio podcast as well. You get your own RSS feed. You get the full, anywhere from 3 to 4, maybe more, hour broadcast dropped in your lap tonight, so you don't have to wait until Thursday or Saturday to get that.
Oh, Seti's begging.
And we love you more.
Begging for a win here on the giveaway nights. And Seti, I mean, your odds are what, 1 in 150-ish or something like that? Or, yeah, so yeah, don't know what to tell you about that. Those are your odds, buddy. And also, as we close out the show, one other quick thing. Was it talked about? Somebody had suggested something about a unique idea in that there could be a giveaway for people that participate via Super Chat. So I think it would require a little bit more work. We'd have to decide how that could work out. But sometimes people say, well, I'd like to support you guys and contribute to you, and we want to do it in some other way that's not through the Patreon mechanism, which is totally fine. So some people have said, well, what if you do a Super Chat and then maybe you get a ticket, so to speak, a virtual ticket for every $1 that you've given. Some people on any given night give $1 or $2. Some people give $20. That would be an interesting way for us if we just logged all of those and then every once in a while gave stuff away that way for only people that were Super Chat.
I could see doing that on a non-regular basis, announcing it a week ahead of time. Hey, next week we're going to do a Super Chat giveaway, and then keep track of all of that as opposed to just doing it.
Yeah, so that'd be an interesting thing to do on some given night. And we appreciate the feedback and the unique idea in terms of how we can give you more free stuff. You guys keep coming up with clever ways. We appreciate
clever ways that we can give you things.
All right, Johnny, I think we can close things out. You're going to get all the Patreon stuff ready for the after show. I'd like to thank Dave Felberg and the entire Next Generation Tour for everything that they've done. I know they worked really hard to get the stats and the dance numbers, all these prizes, all these giveaways. Dave and Pat and Cynthia and just a whole slew of hundreds of people, along with those volunteers that helped run the events, as Dave said. So thank you to all of them. We're excited to be out there. 9 more days till me and another guy from Wisconsin, Chad, till we head out to Arizona so that we can get prepped and ready for that weekend, which will be historic. Dave said it best. Let's keep making history, and that is a perfect way to word it. So we'd like to thank him. I'd like to thank, again, Pete Ulibarri, Mike Spencer, and just the entire crew, everyone that had anything to do with the Phoenix Ladies Open. It was an honor and a privilege to be out there. Congratulations to the winners, but all participants for being part of your new record-breaking PLO this year at 91 competitors. I hope to see that up over 100, get to the triple digits next year, so that can continue to grow. And Johnny V and myself, Terry Miller, the Disc Golf Guy. That's been podcast 168. Stick around. We're going to give away this free disc during the after show. We'll see you then when you step inside the Smashbox.
Thank you to our $2 and above patrons. Your name is listed below in the credits. If you are interested in being listed as a producer in the Smashbox TV credits and supporting this and other fine podcasts, please visit patreon.com/SmashboxTV.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Smashbox TV podcast 168 after show. We need an opening. I mean, not that that's not genius what we just pulled off there. Do we need an official opening for the after show?
Well, I think I've been thinking about how we need an opening for the show. Period. For the like we used to have for the first 30 or so shows, we had like that guitar riff that we opened the show with. And then that kind of went away. I can't even find the riff anymore. Whoever sent it to me, I have to go back to my email. But I listen to the podcast when I spot check it every once in a while, and when it starts, I'm thinking like, it just kind of starts. I wouldn't mind like a little theme song.
Opening music, Jeff Hawkins says, demands, in fact.
Yeah, I would love some. I haven't found anything that I love, and I don't want. I mean, I've got plenty of
click
music.
on the after show graphic too.
Do you want to hit it?
Let me do it.
Hit the button.
Which one is it?
The one that says after show.
Oh, okay.
Hey,
look!
I got this. For those of you that follow us on Facebook, I got this cool little button thing.
Yeah, that's what we do. We buy boxes that have buttons on them.
Yep, and I can change the pictures that are on the buttons with little icons. And I made it so easy that even Terry can now run the show if he needs to.
Yeah, if I need to.
He just pushes buttons on there, and it changes the shots.
And it adjusts all the audio as well? I mean, the shots are related to the audio.
Shots are related right to the audio.
Okay. Wow. Yeah, thanks, Ryan. I think I knocked that one out of the park. Where's the bug? It's there now. Cool one. I took care of that.
He did.
No problemo. Thank you. Yes, perfect execution on the button pressing. Speaking of pressing buttons, here we are in the after show. Now,
can I tell you, and you ask me, you tell me if I'm childish. Because the answer is yes, I know it is. Last night, the night before, it was last night, because it was right after Boy Scouts.
Monday night after the Packers had lost.
No, it was before the Packers had lost.
Okay, to the Lions. Go on.
I pull up to the house. My wife messages me, said, "Hey, did you remember to grab milk and bread?" Of course I didn't. So I kick my kid out of the car and I go to the grocery store. I pull up into the grocery store. And
this is Pick and Save?
This is Pick and Save, about half mile up the road, quarter mile up the road.
Now bought out by Kroger, but that's another story. Go on.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
As I'm getting out of my car, another car pulls in directly across from me. But the one across from me is because it's kind of angled, is a handicap. And I was like, I didn't think anything of it until I looked, and 3 teenagers get out of the car. They all jump out of the car, and this is 7:30 at night. Maybe even, no, it was after, because the Packer game had actually started. It was about 7:45 at night. It was pretty dead. I checked the car, and I'm like, oh, they don't have a handicap thing. They're not even using like their parents' car that might have one, and it was a nicer car. So I go into the store. I thought about taking a picture, but I'm thinking, like, really, what's that going to accomplish? No one's going to care. If I called a cop, no, they're going to laugh at me. Like, oh, you want us to come and ticket some?
Sure.
I go in, I come out. For some reason, it bothered me. So I hocked a big loogie on their window, on their driver's side window.
That took a turn.
It totally took a turn. And it was just, I felt slightly vindicated. And then I walked.
Even though you have zero proof that there's not a legitimate.
There's no legitimate. I made the grand assumption there was no,
You were the judge and jury
and executioner of the loogie.
Yes.
Completely childish. I understand. I know.
We're losing viewers now.
Well,
no.
that's life.
Um,
Justified or not. I would never do actual damage to a car. I would never. It's not in me. I understand that. But I just kind of felt like, really? You 3 teenagers. Maybe 19 at most.
I'll say this.
Not one of them limped out. They all
No,
kind of
and we clearly there's more to it. But if there is not the sticker on the plate and or the something by the rear view window that would give any indication,
I checked.
then it seems as if they are completely, at that point, I believe, and I don't know all the laws,
I know.
I would feel like they're in violation of the law.
Fairly soon. And the car windows were kind of tinted. I even peeked in the car. Like,
see if there's a cane.
to see if anyone was sitting in the car.
Oh,
I would
okay.
hate to knock a loogie on a window and have someone get out and be like, because I literally couldn't see into the car unless I got relatively close to it, or when I hocked a loogie on it. I understand. Sometimes I'm almost 40. Sometimes I'm childish.
Mm-hmm.
I live with that. My wife realizes that. It's just what it is.
I think it's if they are in fact, and again we don't know for certain, although it points in that direction. I think they're in fact dickbags for then taking a spot that they shouldn't be taking. If that's the case.
I mean, right next to it is an open spot because they were across from me so we were like nose to nose. Mine wasn't. Theirs had a sign that was turned that way because it was like the front two. There was one next to them that had it. They pulled into the one that did have it as well. Because, and they could have just gone one more spot, and they would have been in the free and clear. And that's what really, it wasn't like it was busy and that was the only spot open and they thought, well, we'll sneak in there. 300 car spaces there. Nobody's there because the Packers are playing. Everyone has their stuff.
Everybody's home.
So,
yeah, it does frustrate you, and I know I've been kind of you make posts and sometimes you question things, and then some people come in with sometimes very valid considerations, and like, okay, maybe I didn't see that angle or that perspective, and this may be validated. One of the last ones that I think we saw run rampant around the internet, especially here at Halloween time, there was a big, lengthy post on Facebook that a lot of people copied and pasted that said, if that kid, if a kid shows up to your house and takes a couple extra bags of candy, and then it kind of goes from there, and it lists 20 different things that could all be potentially, part of their backstory or situation, and be kind and compassionate and caring and all of those things, and I get all of that. And I think posts like that are sometimes a good reminder if you're not a good human like you and I tend not to be. I think posts like those are great. But then you do look at, all of these clues that point you to where you did. And I can see it. I don't know. I can see it. So I'm going to follow that up with a question that I asked via Twitter that didn't carry much traction. What about, as I've been traveling quite a bit this year, one thing that I see dogs all over the airport. All over the airport. And I understand you can travel with a dog. There's carriers for them. You put them in a carrier, you take them places. Get it. I don't know what the size restrictions are. They usually are small dogs. And I am not. Let me be very clear. I'm not talking service dogs, which I don't want to get into that questionable story because I think like medical marijuana cards, I think getting service dog or service animal privileges, I think are also a little bit, I don't want to say too easy, but it seems like they're handed out like Halloween candy. Anyway, and I'm not trying to rip on anyone that has a service dog. I'm just saying I think you see people exploiting, like everything in life.
Sure.
People exploit the handicapped parking spots.
Yeah.
People exploit all sorts of things. My question is, should dogs be walking around in an airport? That's my question. A non-service dog?
No. I'm gonna go flat. No, if it's
A
not
seeing eye dog, a seeing eye dog.
that's
Well,
a service dog.
it's
of some
well,
sort.
yeah, and that's where I guess I question. There's emotional support dogs, or animals, and then
Correct.
there's seeing eye dogs, and
I kind of equate them together. They're there to help a human owner of some sort. And
so let's just say you're not either.
And those
this might be
yeah.
naive, but I'm going to classify them and give them both 100% pass. Is what I'm doing here in the airport. You're just a dog, and maybe you're a support dog that doesn't have a vest. I don't know if there's a requirement as to if they have to have a
I think
vest or indicator. I think they
we
do.
had this conversation
Really?
on the podcast before.
Well,
on the after show.
it's worth bringing up again because it really, with all the traveling I did in the just even this last weekend, I was in 3 or 4 different airports over 4 or 5 days. I just saw a lot of dogs just walking around in the airport, and I think, why am I sharing these spaces with a dog inside? A dog that I might be deathly afraid of
I don't know.
or deathly allergic of. That is what it. I think the big takeaway is, if I'm at a public park, I expect to see a dog. I'm good with that. If I'm in an airport, I don't think a lot of people think, yeah, I'm going to the airport. I should have plenty of interaction with dogs here today. I think that's a reasonable expectation that you're not going to have encounters with a bunch of dogs when you go to a place like an airport. And I'm not just trying to pick on dogs here, people. I just don't understand why everyone is walking their dog around in the airport.
I'm not a dog person in general, so I have a hard time filling in. I was thinking the other day, someone had made a post on Facebook that says, and I understand everyone loves their animals, and they said something along the lines of, our dog is as much part of the family as, and I said, and all I kept thinking is like, really? Would you run back into a burning building for your dog? Some
Yeah.
might.
Absolutely, some would. Absolutely.
But if there's a burning building and your dog's in there and your kid's in there, which are you getting? You run right past your dog to go get your kid. You don't run past your kid to get your dog.
True. If you're really,
I'm just saying, like it. I chuckle and I understand they're loved family members. I had dogs growing up. I'm still, I won't have one as an adult just because I don't want the responsibility. I just chuckle at that statement, and it's usually from people who don't have kids that they say something like that. And my brother-in-law literally just put down his chocolate lab of 11 years 2 days ago. Part of the family. I understand he's very upset. He's sad about it. I completely get it. They are part of the family, but not as much as other parts of your family. I chuckle at it internally.
and I'll go ahead and follow up. Jeff Hawkins, first of all, Jeff, and for those who don't already know, we say this a lot. After show, clearly a little bit more random and not necessarily disc golf related. Could be, may not be, but also we interact much more freely with our live chat that takes place on YouTube as it's going on right now. So Jeff Hawkins had a moment ago, as we were talking about this, saying that would you rather have a dog or smokers in the airport? I don't know how that has to be an either or. I don't want to have either in an airport.
If I had to pick, I'd pick dogs, but I don't.
Correct,
Yeah.
but I don't see how those are mutually exclusive or have to be. Like,
I would a smoking dog.
actually, I'll say this: I don't care about the airports that have the smoking sections. Those don't bother me at all because, of course, I don't need to go in them if I'm not a smoker. That's totally your choice.
Have a dog section.
And they have dog areas where you can go let dogs go to the bathroom and all
Mhm.
that stuff, which is
Yeah.
always a question in my mind. But I don't know why I'm walking down like just the regular old, not tarmac, the whatever it's called, just in the gates or terminals, and I'm walking with dogs everywhere. It just doesn't make sense to me. So would I rather have a dog or smokers? I don't know. Of course, I'm not talking about bomb sniffing dogs. If your dog is there and is an accredited FBI agent status, I'm good with that dog. I don't even think that's part of the conversation or should be at all. Totally good with that, Ryan.
And Disc Golf Nurse says no dogs at PDG events either. I agree with that too.
I totally agree with that. And you can't. You're not supposed to have a dog. I know that's somewhere in the rules somewhere.
We saw that at Worlds.
And there was a lot of dogs at the PLO this weekend. And if you're not part of, if it's not your dog as a player and not your dog as a caddy, then totally good. Joe Schmo wants to walk up, or Jane Schmo. I don't know why Jane Schmo never gets credit. Is there a Jane Schmo? I think I just made that up. So if Jane Schmo walks up and is walking along as a spectator, no big deal. But if your dog is there and you're caddying, that dog is an extension of you as a caddy, and as a caddy, you're an extension of the player. So you shouldn't have your dog there. That's in the rules somewhere. And then Cool One says, I have an emotional support guinea pig. Can he fly for free in my lap? And as I said, I don't know if there's a fee to it. And your guinea pig can fly in your lap as long as it's in a cage. Same thing with the dog. As long as it's in a cage or in its little holder, I'm good with that. But no, your guinea pig shouldn't be out.
Just running around.
Even if it is in your lap. Because what are the chances of it getting away?
I don't know.
So I'm not picking on dogs. I'm picking on all animals. I don't think animals should be roaming. My support snake, should I be able to just wear that on my neck while I'm at the airport?
Yes, Jake the Snake Roberts. I think you should.
Anyway, can my guinea pig ride in my $75 Zuka side pocket during my tourney? No, I don't think it can.
Probably not.
Fido PDGA 101435. Now I want to look up the PDGA rule. Can you stall while I look up the PDGA rule about dogs?
Probably not.
I just want to know what it says, because I hate when people just kind of generically throw out rules or specifics, and I think it is. I want to read. I feel like competition manual.
Yeah, I don't know. Does anyone have any idea on the actual
I know
rule
it
for
states. I just want to read it verbatim.
dogs or animals? I don't think you should ever bring your dog to a PDGA event.
No, you can't have your dog with you. Your
Not-
dog.
Not during your round. You want to bring
Your
it?
dog
And, like,
can't be your caddy.
you want to bring it? Leave it in the car with the windows up? Hey, that's your deal.
Ouch. Ouch.
I'm just kidding. Crack the window a little bit.
You are.
I joke. I would never do
I-
that.
To be clear, I don't hate dogs. Somebody said that earlier. I don't hate dogs. I'm just throwing those out. I would say the same
We've
this
discussed
weekend.
it,
If there were a
yeah.
bunch of cats roaming around, I don't feel like any animal should be at the airport roaming around on or off leash. I'm good with you traveling with it. I really am. It's supposed to be in a cage holder thing. And I saw a sign somewhere that said it at one point. That's why
What if
I
I'm
know
a
it.
falconeer? I got one of those.
I'm good with that.
It's not roaming. It's on my arm most of it, and it can fly there and back.
As long as it's in a cage, I don't care. I don't want it on a leash.
Tim Court says he throws like he's blind, so a seeing eye dog might help him. Yeah.
Darn it.
Dad's drunk says both his daughters are allergic to dogs. What if they get on a plane or sit next to a dog? Yeah, I'm with you, Dad. My daughter is deathly afraid of them in general. We're trying to work through it, but she's not allergic, thankfully. So
Again, I think to me it keeps coming back to what is a reasonable expectation of where you travel or where you are.
Mhm.
If I go to the damn Planters Peanuts factory and throw up a stink that I need to be taken care of because I'm deathly allergic to peanuts, then you're effing crazy. But I think in certain situations, it's a reasonable expectation to think I'm not going to have a dog in my face or near me when you're in certain areas. And that's what I think we need to define is what is considered those certain areas.
I don't know, Terry. Nathaniel says, Terry, you could have just spit on the dogs like JVE does. I like that.
Ouch.
I like that
Ouch.
idea. Just walk up and hock a loogie on the puppy.
That is
You have to wait till the owners aren't around, though. That was my key.
yes. Ouch. That's a little bit harsh. Did I see? Is there a Robert McCall on the board?
Robert McCall is on the board.
Yeah, and Grizzly Adams on the board says, "I'm just waiting for you two to yell, get off my lawn."
Yeah, we're getting there.
I
We're
know,
getting
I
closer.
know, and I hate to
don't
just
yell
feel
that-
like I'm a grouchy old man for the sake of being grouchy. I'm not. I'm a very firm believer in personal responsibility. Live and let live is great until you infringe on other people, and then I guess that's always the gray zone is when are you truly infringing on someone else? When are you truly impacting the other person? I think that's what is ultimately always the gray zone.
I've never yelled, get off my lawn either.
Not
and
yet.
kids cut through my yard all the time. So
Yeah.
I'm not that old yet.
Dad's drunk says, I hate when I'm eating and someone has a dog at the restaurant, even if it's outside. Now I have to deal with your dog and its ass and such being near my food. Dog owners are so entitled. I don't know if there's a lot of dogs in restaurants. Again, short of a service dog, I would agree, though. Dogs should not be in a restaurant.
Correct. In general, I think I have no problem if the restaurant says, this is a dog-friendly restaurant. Then I know, and I'm like, well, I'm not going to go there, but look at all these cool dog people. There's a a very popular bar in Milwaukee called the Nomad, which is very dog-friendly, and
Okay.
it always has been. And I remember going in there at all, when we were younger, and there's just be people hanging out with their dogs, drinking beer. And I was like, oh, cool. I know what I'm in for. I don't mind,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, I'm with you.
All right. The question is it in the rules or is it in the competition manual? Oh, this is an old. When you search Google or when you put in dog, it comes up with Dogwood Lane, which is the.
Whatever. We'll find it. Maybe we'll bring it up for you next week or someone else can. So let's do our Patreon giveaway. We've got that beautiful orange disc golf, perfect for
fall season. If you'd like to go out and hit a pumpkin and then leave it under the leaves, this is for you. Max weight, 175 grams, KC Pro AVR with a custom, it says live 2015 live broadcast supporter. So you are supporting us even in the yesteryear by using this beautiful
like going
disc.
back in time. I was wrong before. We don't have 168. We have 162. So I'm going to look at this. This is something I have not automated. Well, here's what I'm going to do, though.
Oh,
We're going to hit generate.
Wow, now people can see what's happening.
77.
You totally rigged that.
I totally rigged it.
Make it 77 for some reason.
77. Andrew Dope out of Pennsylvania. Congratulations, Andrew. That might be a repeat winner.
Doesn't sound familiar.
You send out all the stuff. I just announce them and forget.
What in Lancaster
Pennsylvania.
at 4444? No, out of Lancaster, Pennsylvania. Maybe.
Maybe not. I'll know in a couple minutes when I try to bring up his an email, and I'll see if I've sent something.
So congratulations. I want to again reiterate, I believe I'm up to speed. So if you are waiting on something from me, I hope you're not. But if you are, please reach out to me on Facebook right away, and we'll double check our records. But I feel like I'm completely up to speed with the exception of last week's lightweight hoodie winner who did not reply yet with the size that they need. So other than that, I think we're ready to go. Also,
well, I have emailed him, but I guess maybe that's
then maybe. The other thing I wanted to talk about quickly, in a couple of weeks, I'm going to be hosting this cold turkey tournament that I've plugged a few times, but also as part of that, I'm looking at doing some lightweight hoodies that will have some Smashbox branding on them. Some people have said, I'm not going to be in your event. I can't make it. I'm not playing. I'm a big wimp, whatever. But they want to get a Smashbox hoodie. So I'm going to put together some kind of a pre-order form so that I can make sure that we're not just left with extras, and that if you order a specific size and you really want one, I'll make sure that we have one for you. So look for that soon. I don't know where we'll put that on Facebook. I'll probably put it on my Facebook as well as the Smashbox Facebook for the people that are interested in getting one and securing a Smashbox hoodie as well. Very lightweight one.
I'm a big fan. Clearly, I'm a big fan of Patreon for a bunch of reasons. One, it helps pay a lot of our bills that we have for hosting and all this other fun stuff. But they just announced that they are partnering with, I think, Teespring, so you can automate your higher giveaways, like so, or
Yeah.
patrons. So if you want to say, hey, guess what? For the $20 a level, you'll get a monthly shirt or something along those lines, and you can have that automate. That's kind of cool. It's one of the things that I think we need to branch out a little bit more into. I'd love to see a little bit more clothing, but clothing is always tough, as you know, because trying to keep it fresh is very, very, very difficult. But I thought that was kind of cool, and it makes me want to do more of it. But I mean, I love working with Miles at Paragon as well, because Miles is the man. He just did a bunch of T-shirts for my wife's work. So, shout out for that.
Also, no, don't know what I'm talking about. Never mind. Christy's out on the board and I think has found the quote. She has chimed in on the board saying, I'm sorry, let me find it. 3.5E for players wishing to use a carrying device. Approved carrying devices include disc golf bags, foldable chairs, and pushcart companions. No animals, motor-driven, or bicycle-type devices shall be allowed at all PDGA events. No animals.
And that's for carrying devices?
Now, that says for carrying devices.
So you can't use your dog to carry this, but does it say that you can't bring your dog? Is there a distinction there?
I think I could have swore somewhere.
I'm sure there is. I'm wondering if that is any more or less specific.
I mean, it's yeah, but if it's just in relation to carrying, because we've seen throughout the years, more or less, we'll say like saddle type bags that have been made for dogs, where dogs are essentially just that, a caddy, and are carrying this along, and I think that's awesome for casual play.
That's great for casual play. I love it. I love well-behaved dogs on the course. I think it's fantastic. And usually, if a dog has a bunch of frisbees in their side satchel or whatever it is, they're probably well-behaved around other discs. They're not going to go chasing. And God, it was when we first started playing many, many years ago. I'd thrown a disc and a dog came up and bit it. And I was so upset because I didn't have a lot of discs at the time. I'm like, your dog just put a hole in my disc. Someone just walking through a park. And I don't even believe they were playing. And I was just thinking, like, that's rude.
Great question on the board. Switching off of all of that
Something
topic
different.
is Ricky in position to be the single largest money winner? And I would have to think I'd have to go back and actually do a little bit of research. I'm sure your research could be pretty simple. Go click on Paul McBeth over the last 3 or 4 years, and then compare to where Ricky's at, and it's going to be one of the two. If I would if I were a betting man, which I am,
you are,
I would say that whatever Ricky's at this year is probably the largest. Ricky or it's gonna be Ricky or Paul, but whatever's Ricky is at. Well, that's a good question. I know we were just talking about money earnings a few weeks ago. If I could just learn how to click on a button here correctly, we could do some quick comparisons.
Dion says that it was 72,000 in 2015.
Wow. Oh yeah, I think he had a good year. The Grand Slam thing,
all those majors and the
majors.
Worlds.
Yeah. Okay.
Barely losing.
And what is Ricky?
And Rick this year's above Paul 2015. So it must be.
Oh well, here Ricky is currently listed. He's also listed at 98 wins at the moment. And he's currently listed at 76,000. So there's your answer.
This is the best, most profitable year for any disc.
Oh, Rick! Seriously,
Rick?
that is
Rick's
ridiculous.
Rick's taking us out to dinner next time.
Holy cow! 70. We're gonna round up. We're gonna include this this last weekend.
Another 1,200.
Is it 900 or
No,
1,200?
900.
Whatever it
It was
was.
900 because 1,200 was Michael
pushing,
Joe.
Wow, $77,000.
Yeah, Robert McCall even said, "Holy crap! I didn't realize he'd gotten over that." Yeah, that's not even including any sort of bonuses that he got.
Correct.
That is just strictly PDGA winnings. I would assume he's hitting 6 digits. If I had to take a wild guess.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty. I think that's a pretty comfortable
Yeah.
guess. And he is scheduled the.
It does
events,
not include the decimal.
I'm not sure if in there it says he recently competed in the Discraft Green Mountain Championships. I think that needs to go in there as well for another 1,500. So let's just say we're just going to round up. We'll add 2,400 just for rounding.
Yeah, that might not include the DGPT finale yet?
It does, because that shows
Oh,
10 grand on
Oh,
the
does
bottom.
it? Okay.
Yeah, I guess 10 grand there.
That's a good way to underline your year.
Yeah, when you're talking about 12 grand for Worlds and 10 grand for the DGPT Tour Championships. 22 grand. 22 grand, it used to be a great season for some of our top touring competitors in terms of PDGA money.
Thanks, Robert McCall. Robert McCall says bonus estimate on those wins about $300,000, give or take $299,000.
Oh, Robert, you
fooler.
jokester.
You little fooler. Dad's Drunk says the finale shouldn't be on, but Harry says it is.
It's listed on the PDGA. Why shouldn't it be on there? That was a PDGA A tier? And he won 10 grand. So PDGA winnings would put it there. Mitchell Rand says animals, with the exception of accredited service animals, may not accompany players during competition.
Cool.
Okay. We say this all the time, but we can't do anything more than speculate and as to what exactly bonuses may or may not include from Ricky, may or may not be included with Ricky's season at this point. We say that with Paul Macbeth. We say that obviously with any of our players, because our best guesses are what we see on the PDGA, and then a few people that have been sponsored may have some idea. But when you're talking about our most elite level players who may have very specific one-off contracts, it would be really interesting, for no other reason other than being nosy. It'd be really interesting to know some of those stats and figures.
Oh, for sure. I know I've heard in the past Paul's bonuses went up every year he won Worlds, and it was more so if he won it again in a row. I don't know if that continues now that he's taken a 2-year hiatus from winning, but awkward. I would guess it's something similar for Ricky. I don't know if that was like, hey, you win Worlds, you get a $3,000 bonus. You win it next year, you get a $6,000. Or if it's a, hey, you win Worlds, you dethrone Paul, you get a $15,000 bonus, and then a $30,000. I don't know any of those numbers, but it would be a lot of fun to know. Just to know how Ricky's rolling.
Yeah. Get Rick rolled.
Get Rick rolled.
It is interesting. And then you think about the various sponsorships, the various levels, what an Innova pays versus a Discraft versus a Dynamic Disc or a Latitude 64. All of those different companies and the different structures that they have. Prodigy, who came into the mix, who kind of shook up how things were previously done. Yep. And then on top of it, as we all know, and we've talked about at great length, there's the Signature Series disc, which typically is given to world champions more often than not. But then there's, with Innova and some of the other incentives we've seen out there, we've seen tour signature or tour aided discs, whether that be from the Innova store or a Tim Barham crank or whatever, the Michael Johansson Comet. Michael not winning a world championships, but obviously one of the main, the headliners there at the Team Discraft, having those support discs. And then when you're comparing even that, sure, a signature disc is one thing, but a signature disc of a certain model at one company is certainly going to or could outperform or underperform compared to another signature disc at another company. So a signature disc, albeit an achievement in itself, there's obviously the finances that follow along with it. So there's a lot of unanswered things, some of which I know, some of the deep down inside secrets, and plenty of which I don't, but there's a lot of intricacies there that aren't on the table, and I'm not saying they should be. These are contracts for these players. I don't think it's any of my business. If I learn of it, great. It's, again, interesting to me, but I don't think it's my business, nor is it necessarily the public's business. You feel a little different, though, don't you?
No, not necessarily. They're not, the disc manufacturers are not publicly held companies. That I don't necessarily think we need to know what their individual contracts are. It's different. I hate even bring this up. If we had like a players union, then I think you would see something different. You would see what other players are making. The players would then use that as leverage to make more with their other manufacturers and vice versa. We're not there. I don't necessarily think that our contracts need to be public. It'd be fun if they were, but
Yeah, they'd be great conversation pieces, but
ultimately it doesn't really affect anybody but the manufacturer and the player.
Some questions on the comments and questions on the board. Dad's Drunk says Innova would be insane to cut Paul's bonuses. He's still far too influential in getting people into throwing Innova. Paul still is by far the most fans. Go to any event and you see where the spectators go.
I wasn't saying
That's one angle.
I wasn't saying cutting his bonuses clearly. I just said that I had heard he got a progressively more amount for every year he won.
Sure.
And if he wins his 5th, will that go up again? Or does that reset and say, oh, is how many in a row, or is it how many versus? That's all I'm saying. I don't know for sure. I don't. I've never asked him. It's none of my business. But it's fun to, like I say, it's fun to speculate.
And Robert McCall had also chimed in. Robert being Team Dynamic team manager.
I'm going to go on a limb now. Robert is he also works with Smashbox once in a while, so I'd like to consider him sponsored by Smashbox.
Yes.
If Robert wins Pro Worlds, we have a standing $50,000 bonus if he wins Pro Worlds in the open field.
And there, I think there's a clause in there that says if the disc he throws have Smashbox
they all
stamps.
have to have Smashbox stamps. Yes.
Oh no! I just figured it's a standing 50,000. That doubles if they're all stamped with Smashbox logos.
Okay, I'm good with that. We agree. It's all on you, Robert.
Robert, it's an easy 100K just sitting on the. Didn't you win this weekend?
Just waiting.
Weren't you a winner? Team tournament, camping team tournament down in Texas. Were you part of that, or did you win somewhere else? I think I saw you were a winner again this weekend, Robert. So, yeah, but if you go win Worlds, that's an easy 100K just sitting there waiting for you. No, he does not even have to commentate. He actually just takes over our show for the next year. And he has his own podcast, since I know they don't give him the time of day.
They're actually coming up close to their 200th podcast.
Oh, that's cute.
I know. They're ahead of us.
Yeah, only because they started early. All right. I don't know about that. No, he says negative. I won nowhere. Huh. I could have swore.
Winner at life.
I just thought you always won. Boom. Yeah, easy 100K. Cool One, there's a conversation taking place on the board about forms, run-ups, and Cool One says, I see. Okay, then I'll slow down. I see Paul Oman, Val Jenkins, who run up wicked slowly. Not long throwers, but still interesting. Yeah, Paul Oman's a long thrower for sure.
Paul Oman, he does have a slower walk up, and it's not perfect for him, but he can throw. He throws a 450-foot golf shot when he wants to.
Yeah,
I've got. Yeah, I mean, Paul Oman is blessed, much like myself, with the height and the length of the arms,
and
but
that hair, that beard, that chiseled chin.
Easy.
He's blessed.
He's a great guy.
However, it is fair to say, and I am not. Paul wouldn't take. I don't think Paul would take offense to this. It is also fair to say, I know we're talking about form and style and technique. I would never say to someone, "Hey, see that Paul guy over there throwing? You should go do what he's doing." No one would say that.
No, not at all.
There's something to be said about tempo and how fluid you are.
I also think
and your steps, but no one would say he's dialed in on textbook form. His form works perfectly for him as he's developed into being a phenomenal player. However, again, no one would say, "Hey, you see that Paul Oman guy? You should try and emulate exactly his form." You just wouldn't say that. And I think Paul would probably agree with that. It works very well for him, though. Yes, and Paul Oman can bomb. Robert is going to be 1,000 rated soon. That's what I also hear. He's so good. Arm speed trumps run-up speed. It certainly does, Dion. There's no doubt about that. However, I don't think you also want to look like a stop-motion picture when you're throwing and be that slow and methodical. But I do agree with you. And Dion's known as the whip. I mean, come on.
He's a far thrower
and stuff. That's about all we got these days.
Anyone have anything else?
Yeah, if you got something on the board, any other conversations, question marks, things going on?
I went to 2 movies on Sunday
Okay.
in the theater. I don't think I've ever done that before in my life.
Please tell me you scammed them by paying
I did
for
not,
one.
because
And then,
I left and it came back. I went to the first one in the morning with my son. We went to go see some Pokemon movie, which apparently is only playing in theaters like one day this year.
okay.
So, I mean, it's not going to draw a lot of attention, so I think it's just a special showing. And then I went back later that night and saw Thor Ragnarok, which was excellent and very funny. I think even you would enjoy. You would enjoy it. It's because it's funny. You'd enjoy the humor.
Okay. Well, then if it's funny.
Yeah, I mean, it was good. It was a good movie. Period. So I did that, and then just today with playing with my boy some video games, we beat the new Super Mario game.
Wow.
So excited. But beating the game is like being a third of the way through it. Now you go back. It's like, hey, congratulations, you beat the main bad guy. Now go get the hard stuff. Is what it comes down to. So
you didn't really beat it?
we did, but there's just more to do. You beat the final guy. The way the games work these days, it's like, okay,
They're never ending.
yeah, you got through the story and you got what you needed, but now go back and find everything you missed, and it's twice as hard. So we'll go do that as we need to.
Robert McCall asks, can I bookmark this episode to reference when I win World so that I have video proof of? Yes, absolutely.
Actually, this is going unlisted. Sorry.
And to further clarify, that is in the MPO division, Robert. That is, I think that goes without saying, but I'll say it anyway. MPO only does that qualify. When you are a advanced senior grandmaster legend, 85 plus, and then you take down a world title, don't come calling to us. We'll be dead. We're a few years older. We'll be dead by then. Yeah, don't do that. Terry at prodiscgolfer.com if you really want to email some stats. Dion, a numbers guy, asking if we'd like to see some Paul versus Ricky stats from this year, and whether we get to him this week or next week. I think that'd be a great conversation piece.
For sure. Yeah, you can always email Terry at prodiscgolfer or John at smashbox.tv.
JON, that is.
JON. Leave out those H's.
Well, he was holding up for senior legends, he says. All right. Pete May will probably still be there and probably still beat you. You're exactly right. Jeff Hawkins asks, what's the logo on your shirt?
Oh, yeah,
Johnny?
that's right. Someone asked. It is a greater than less than sign. It is there's actually a podcast that happens Tuesday nights. They're kind of their version of Smashies. They call them the Diamond Club. And so they make kind of a diamond like this. And so that's what this is. They just do greater than less than signs. It's their kind of online symbol.
What's their topic of conversation?
They're a comedy podcast.
Okay.
So it's just called Night Attack. And they're actually being featured this month on Twitch. They're like,
so are we, right?
We have
broadcast.
Hold on, let me check on our Twitch viewer. Nope, he's gone.
He or she.
I think it's usually he. He's chatted with me before. We have one viewer on Twitch. So yeah, I guess they're being featured this month on the front page of Twitch, which is a big deal because Twitch is no longer just video games. It now does, which is why I'm on. And like I said, we get like one viewer on Twitch, or sometimes two if we're lucky. They're expanding into other formats, not just video games. They're also doing like cooking shows and talking podcasts and comedy, and so that's what they do. They're a very acquired taste comedy, I would say, because they can be very, not vile isn't the word, irreverent would be a good way to put it. So they're fun and they're funny, and they do sometimes these games or quiz shows that are all based around humor. And I've been watching them for 7 years now, six years. It used to be called NSFW, stands for Not Suitable for Work, but now they call themselves Night Attack. So that's what it is. The Diamond Club. They actually got a couple years ago. They crowdsourced a romantic novel. I'll say they looked at the top Kindle books, and they saw most of them were 50 Shades of Grey at the time or knockoffs. So they decided that they crowdsourced from their people, like just horrible stories, not real. Some of them were like, I guess some of them were actually decent stories, but they put them all in one big book. They released it, and they had all their fans, and they charged 99 cents for it. They had all their fans buy it on one particular day at one particular hour, and it jumped to the top of the Kindle library. So then what happens is other people see this and they buy it.
It's just horrible.
I mean, and it's just cheesy, bad, like it's not, again, not vile, just bad romantic or romantic stories, like almost like any bad Harlequin, whatever. And then they would sit and look at all the different Amazon reviews they got, like all these 1-star reviews, like, this is awful. Why would anyone put this out here? I can't believe it has so many. And of course, everyone that bought it in on the joke gave it a 5-star review. And it was very funny. They were featured on a lot of like, local talk podcasts after that, and just kind of inside jokes. They used to have this thing called compliment bombs, where they would just go to some random newspaper site and find not the worst, but just find some random review of like local high school choir, and they would have everyone just compliment bomb them, like, oh my God, this was the greatest thing. I can't believe you guys sang this so well, and just hundreds of these comments, and people would just be like, why are we getting this? And
like reverse spamming them.
Yeah, reverse spamming them,
reverse trolling,
because they don't want to be destructive, they just want to be humorous. So lots of funny stuff, and it's the type of humor I get a kick out of, because it's not, I can't say it's not offensive, because some of it is very offensive,
but not mean spirited.
It's not mean spirited.
You'd rather spit on someone's car for that.
Spit on someone's car. Check.
All right. Does anyone have anything else they'd like? Everyone's you're starting to confuse people.
I know. I'm sorry. It's an acquired taste. If you're interested, like I said, just look up Night Attack. It's a podcast. It's a comedy podcast. Go back. It's fun.
Jeff Hawkins asks, best food to eat between tournament rounds. Keep it light and
banana,
and nothing that will upset your stomach that may call for an emergency
double butter burger with cheese.
Yeah, emergency run to a restroom. That's what we would recommend. Johnny, I think Bitcoin appreciation, like gold appreciation, is collectible.
Yes.
Under U.S. tax law. So you pay a crazy high, fixed 28% federal income tax on gains. Then then state tax on top of that.
Well,
assuming you ever cash it in.
Exactly. I bought it for $200. It's worth like $1,700 or $1,800 now. I haven't looked in the past 3 days. But it's a gamble. I've told this to everybody I've ever talked about buying the Bitcoin. I said, it's not an investment. It's a gamble. It's like going to it's like going to the casino with $200 and saying, here you go. I'm going to play with this, and maybe I come out ahead. Maybe I lose it all, but it's fun for me to watch. If I did cash it in, it wouldn't be this year, because I wouldn't want it on this year's books. I would wait till next year, but there's no reason to. It just keeps accelerating and getting bigger and bigger. And at some point it's going to crash. And I just hope I'm out before then. But if I'm not, I doubt it'll ever get back
low.
Down, get back down to the 200 where I bought it. If it crashes, I think it's at like 7,000 or something right now, and it drops down to 5,000 or 4,000, I'm still up like $800-900. So ultimately, whatever, it's cool. Maybe someday it'll be worth a lot of money, and I'll have forgotten about it.
Dad's Drunk said, anyone watch the UFC on Saturday? Best card I've ever seen. Johnny nor I are UFC fans or aficionados.
I wouldn't say, I'm not a fan. I don't mind watching it if it's on, but I
won't go out of your way for
I will
it.
not go out of my way. If somebody said, hey, I'm having UFC party tonight, I'd be like, oh, cool, there's a party. Like, oh, and look what's on.
Yeah, I feel pretty much the same way. I'll admit I get sucked into a little bit of the marketing of some of the more household names, the McGregor type stuff, or the Ronda Rousey when she was. Is she now the irrelevant Ronda Rousey? I believe she is. Actually, she's releasing something with fitness. I think I was reading one day. But anyway, or supplements type stuff, which is a natural.
Makes sense for
makes
her.
All too much sense, right? But no, neither of us will necessarily go out of our way for anything of that nature. But I'm
I
glad to hear it was
I
good.
still would love to have Ben Askren on the show
Sure.
at some point, even though I don't know anything about. I know enough about Ben, but I don't know a lot about what he's been up to lately. I know he just fought overseas. We were talking a while ago, so
Mhm.
I think he'd be fun to have on. And there was a goalie for Pittsburgh that has a disc golf
basket.
and thrower on his helmet.
Correct. And that kind of ran rampant last week, right around the
Yes.
time of the podcast.
Yep.
Somebody had clarified, or at least said, and I saw it on the internet, so I believe it, had said that's actually a photo from a couple years ago.
Oh, is it? Okay.
But there has been articles. There's been links to the article of the golfer, or I'm sorry, of the professional hockey player. Is his name Josh something? Hockey. Now I feel bad that we should at least know his name. Hockey player disc golf. We'll see if the Google's Josh Newton. No, not Josh Newton. Yeah, when I type in Josh, it doesn't work. NHL. Anyway, I know there were some articles that were passed around where he had talked about he is plays disc golf, which is great. Again, that seems like good press that we will gladly take. Having the stickers on the back of his head. All right, playing La Mirada. Alan Risley's on the board, AJ's dad. Alan says he earlier said he's excited to have AJ home for the weekend to see his boy, so give him a big hug for us. That's awesome. Obviously, we saw that he cashed in Oklahoma this past weekend. Disc Golf Nerd says there was a super late stoppage in the main event. Bisping took a nap way before the refs stepped in. Casey DeSmith, thank you, Jeff. He just joined the PDJ this last weekend, and I'm going to go ahead and say probably was granted a PDJ membership, which I'm 100% in favor if he's of this fame or notoriety and other professional athleticism. He was probably someone maybe reached out to him and in some capacity granted him a PDJ membership or covered it or sponsored it, whatever you want to call it. Fantasy.
Lots to talk about their fantasy. The media got together and created a fantasy football league.
Mm-hmm.
And after our draft, I said, I like our team. I think we're doing.
Did you
very
pull
well.
a Steve Held and
I
say
did not.
I have the best team?
I
On paper, I've got the best team.
Definitely did not say that.
Because one of our idiot. No, I'm sorry. He's not an idiot friend.
Not at all.
He's a friend.
He just
Talks
says
like an idiot. He says idiot things.
But
says that all the time. That's his coin phrase.
We've had, and the way fantasy football works is, you pick your players, each person gets points, and there's no back and forth. You just happen to go up against a person. Your and my team,
Mm-hmm.
which
is named what?
I think it's just Smashbox something or other.
Clever. Okay.
And you've had zero to do with it,
Yep.
which is fine. We are getting roasted.
Ouch.
Every time we put up big points.
What are you doing to us?
Every time we put up big points, someone puts up bigger points.
So you lose. Is that how that works?
Yes. This is the equivalent of losing, like, Ricky shoots a 1050 or a 1060 rated round, but Paul shoots a 1070. That's what we're doing right now. We've had a couple stinkers, I'm not gonna lie, but we've had the most points scored against us by a huge margin, and we are just getting the raw end of the stick right now. It happens. I'm still having a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to next year, hopefully, when people decide. This weekend, I would say on average, a team scores about between 110 points, 110 to 120 points. That's a decent thing. Jamie Thomas this weekend put up 163 on us, and we scored 129, I think.
So, as you mentioned before, a total that on a typical weekend could take home the victory. You're sitting okay with 129 points.
I posted something on the site saying we're 9 weeks in. 6 of the teams we've played have put up their best or second best point totals against us. We're just losing. It happens. We're hitting.
We're
people.
not playing badly. We just get beat.
We're getting beat. That's what it boils down to.
I've got some cliche we could throw out there.
Definitely. So, and it's fun, and I keep. There needs to be a little more smack talk on the board, but it's hard. It's hard to keep doing it when you keep losing. So now my smack talk is who's going to score the most points against me. And we're playing against Joe Hardiman this weekend.
Oh, jerks. And stuff.
Yeah, and I did have to pay extra to have you as a co.
Maybe I should log in there and shake some stuff up.
There you go. There you go. That's always a great idea.
Because I can maybe name 10 NFL players. So I think I'd be right in there in that fantasy. Disc Golf Nerd says, what's up on and off season podcastathon or battle box? Any input on that?
I haven't put too much thought into it as far as a battle box.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love to do it. Now's a good time. We're in the off season. I think we need to adjust the format from what we had, and having you around would help. I think every time I've done it, it was by myself.
No, not the.
Oh,
I've
no.
only done 2. I was there for the first one.
Or you were there for the first one? Okay.
So I've been there for 50%.
50% of them. So I just think it needs a little bit of tweaking. It's something I can hopefully think of sometime in the next month or so, and maybe we can get something going for January and February.
Sure.
Before we swing up again.
Sure. Yeah, that sounds like a good time. I think we could do that. Someone asked if we have a collective morning session regarding our quarterback, that Rodgers fella. Yeah, I think we need him. Is that a fair assessment? I was traveling late last night, so I didn't get to see really any of the game. The Packers had played.
I missed the first 15 minutes of it because I was spitting on cars.
I was just going to say, because you're...
yes, it shows that everybody in Wisconsin has known that our defense is not good. It's never been good. We've been covered by the grace of Aaron Rodgers and his phenomenal play as he's the best quarterback in the NFL. Dad's drunk. And now that he's out, all of our flaws are there.
Oh,
we can't score. The defense can't stop anybody. It's just ultimately we have a bad team now. Without Aaron Rodgers, we have a bad team. With Aaron Rodgers, we have a good team. That's how much of a difference he makes. It sucks, and it's hard to watch. I don't know how other teams do it. When you sit down and you think, "Oh, my team's gonna lose."
Oh yeah, I can't.
It's just not nearly as much fun. I feel bad for Cleveland. I've even worse for Cleveland Brown fans and 49ers fans, and it's tough to see because we've been blessed for 25 years.
I was going to say almost as long as you and I have been able to care at all about football.
With Rodgers and Favre.
Yeah.
So, it happens.
I'd like to throw a random one out there, and I know this is a little bit more generic, sports related to some degree, but not really. And also media. Graham Benson, you familiar? Is it Benson? No, I could be totally wrong, so you wouldn't be familiar if I'm making up names. Graham, I feel like it's Graham Benson.
What's this in relation to?
No, maybe Benson's not the name. Interviewer. Sports is not Benson.
Yes.
I'm an idiot.
No. I know who you're talking about. He's the guy that's always on late at night.
I don't know when he's on. I've never seen or heard of the guy in my life,
No,
except for when I get on a Southwest flight and I watch free TV, he's doing interviews.
Yeah, he's like a younger guy, kind of that sits and does. Yes, he got his start a couple of years ago, and just interviewing. Somehow he got a break, and I see him late at night. He's like that one interview that goes off right before you see the bars on TV. They put his show on because there are nights that for whatever reason I'm up late, and I turn it on and I'm like, who's this guy interviewing now? Like, oh my God, I'm not going to watch this. I've seen him. I know exactly who you're talking about.
It's not Ben Singer. I apologize. Thank you. And I'm sure, I hope that's it. And I'm sure yes, there it is. Ben Singer. I apologize. Good thing, because Ben Singer was not coming up with anything. You guys were probably screaming at me on the board. Anyway, what I take from him is obviously watching him do interviews. They're always sit down. They're, professionally produced by, multi-million-dollar companies. But when he sits down and does interviews, so I've been watching a lot of those. Last night I was watching it with Brian Urlacher. I don't care about Chicago Bears football whatsoever. I barely know much about any of it, but I watched the interview with Brian Urlacher. I saw the one with Kobe and Shaq and just lots of different random players. Ones I do and don't like, doesn't matter. I'm watching him for just that, for his style and for his interviewing. And I just didn't know if he is a if he's a well-known name, if everybody knows him, it seems like he does an incredible amount of research when he obviously works with these, which I guess a good interviewer would do. And I just never heard of him before I sat down and watched free television on Southwest. And they've got a huge catalog of hundreds of his interviews.
Yeah, he's like I said, he's on late at night,
Okay.
and that's how I've always seen him. And he kind of annoys me a little bit
Okay.
as a person for some reason. I don't know if it's his interview style or what, but I just can't watch. And it's not bad. I'm just like, ugh, yeah, no thanks. Like,
Interesting. Well, anyway, and nobody on the board is saying a word about him, so maybe people have no idea what I'm talking about. But Graham Bensinger is who I'm talking about, and looks like his last one's with Bernie
Ecclestone.
Formula One. Okay, well, I think he had a really good one in there. He's got Brett Favre on there. And then so on and so forth. All sorts of athletes. There's a TV schedule, so maybe that's why. Yeah, Sunday evenings. Okay. Anyway, I was trying to learn stuff. Bensinger's interview with Brett Favre was amazing, Terry. Amazing.
Yeah, I caught clips of that. You're right. It was very good.
And Dad's Drunk says, literally never heard of him. And that's where I stand. And I don't watch a lot of TV. I definitely don't watch a lot of sports television. I just think it's interesting that this guy seems to be, he clearly gets all the big names. A little bit of the people from yesteryear. I don't know if he has as many people that I feel like are current day present.
Correct. It
seems like he's gotten them just past their retirement or shortly thereafter, or their prime or whatever.
He had a pretty decent, from what I caught, interview with Shaq, I believe it was, as well. Talking about how Shaq missed out. Was it Five Guys or Chipotle? He mocked it to a point where had he invested in, he'd be a billionaire. And he's kind of like, well, what do you do about it? And it was a slight public thing and whatever.
All right. So Dion, there's suggestions that we have Dion on the show. Dion, yeah, done.
Yeah.
Done, Dion. We should have you. Dare I say, almost even schedule something.
Yeah, reach out to us.
Which is a big move for us. But no, yeah, let's schedule to have you on here soon.
The next 2 to 3 weeks.
Yeah. Sounds like a plan. Done.
We got nothing else going
on. That works out perfectly. Joe Hardiman says, do you say Mando or Mandy? Feel like there's a clear difference between NorCal and SoCal. What is it elsewhere? Dion says in the Northwest, it's Mando. Harkey says on the East Coast, it's Mando. Ryan Pilcher says Mando in Illinois and Wisconsin. I feel like everywhere else, then it's Mando. I mean, if you were like
Mandy makes sense, like mandatory. It sounds more than Mando.
Yeah.
Mandatory. But I say Mando.
Dare I say, it almost sounds like Mandy's almost like the slang of Mando, which is already abbreviated for mandatory. But oh yeah, you missed the Mandy. Like if I were just, I don't know, it sounds dumb to say, it's almost even less formal than Mando. Like, oh yeah, you missed the Mandy. I've heard it referred to as a Mandy.
Sure,
but
I have too.
It's always in a very lighthearted or not very serious tone. I'll say this, I've never heard a TD say, yep, there's a Mandy on 9 and a Mandy on 16, and if you miss the Mandy on 14, you go to the drop. I've never heard it referred to that way in a formal way. I've always heard it mandatory or Mando.
Dion says he's the perfect off-season guest. So, yeah.
Sounds good. We'd love to have you.
For sure.
We could talk about all sorts of different things. And he did send me, and it looks like you have numbers and stuff here.
Wow.
Dion, and
all I know is that
you've got multiple graphs. You are way out of my league here with
all
charts.
I know is that they played 17 tournaments together, and they won 15 out of them. Paul versus Ricky.
Oh, that's an interesting.
There were 2 events. I'm not sure which 2 they were.
So you're saying between.
Oh yeah, so it would be.
Ledgestone and the USDGC.
USDGC, yeah. As I'm looking at your graph now.
Yeah,
those are the 2.
Because Josh Anthon and Sexton. Yeah, that's listed there. Oh, If I just look at your chart, it actually
If you
says-
just scroll your eyes
it
to the
says
right.
the thing I'm looking for. It says it somewhere. But yes, that's very interesting. And those are the only ones where they squared off, presumably, right? Yep.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Oh, easy on the Barry Manilow jokes. Terry is
I am? Was he just in Vegas? No, I don't think.
All right, let's wrap this up. I think we're good.
I think we are good. Lots of randomness here in the after show. A little looser and less relevant than normal.
Even than normal, yeah.
Which is a new low bar that we've actually set. Maybe next week we should have some official topics. I felt like there was a couple other travel topics that I had, but I think we kicked your dog far enough down that.
Spit on your car.
We kicked that one down as far as we need to go. Next week we will. I'm just trying to think. Like next week we're going to be in prep mode to go to the
Next Gen tour?
to the Next Gen tour.
Next week.
Make sure you have your brackets ready, or we'll be talking about that as well as those unfold.
Yeah, I should do a bracket.
They're
Next
free,
week,
I heard.
I hope to have some news.
Okay.
So some relevant
I hope you do too.
disc golf Smashbox news.
Oh.
We've-
I hope you've watched the PLO coverage by next week.
I hope you have it out.
That's what I mean. I hope everyone's been able to watch
There's
it.
there's some possible, I wouldn't say big things,
Oh,
but
not big.
fun stuff that Smashbox is working.
Also, I believe I am, well, I guess inclusive of the Next Gen Tour and probably Florida. Those are the next two events that there's going to be some coverage at. If there's something, whether it's next year or in this fall or spring or winter or spring yet, reach out ASAP as we're both starting to create calendars and schedules and details. Now's the time to start thinking about that. We operate on the same budget that Ricky and Paul's combined bonuses come in on. So if we attend an A tier, like a $10,000 bonus. No. But in all seriousness, reach out if you are interested in some form of coverage. I think I made a post. Gosh, when was that? Was that last week? I made a post saying I'm ready to step things up in the post-production world as well. We, of course, we're going to be improving here on Smashbox and live and in post side. I'm going to be doing some fundraising, looking to purchase a couple new 4K cameras that I won't shoot in 4K yet, but I have some new upgraded cameras and some graphics and some of that stuff that we're all going to be in the upgrade department. So reach out. All right, for Johnny V and Terry Miller, the disc golf guy, we're going to call it just short of 3 overall hours for podcasting tonight, including our after show. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for being supporters. Thanks for being Patreon supporters. We appreciate each and every one of you. Look forward to some Smashbox TV hoodies to be released soon. And if you're in our area, come play Cold Turkey in a couple of weeks. We'd love to have you. We'd love to see you. For Johnny V, Terry, the disc golf guy, we'll see you next week when you step inside the Smashbox.
Don't park in handicap signs.
Or he'll get spit on.